The Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Yes, speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good day, beautiful people. It is Thursday, September 24th, and tonight, week 3 of the 2020 NFL season kicks off. That's right, Thursday night football tonight. The game that you've been dreaming about your entire life takes place tonight. The Miami Dolphins travel to Duval County and take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. That means it's Magic traveling to Mania. Is it Chris Angel, David Blaine, or is it Hulk Hogan? Fitzmagic takes on Minshew Mania for the first time in our entire existence. This seems like a game that you could think that Ryan Fitzpatrick would dominate. Short week, primetime television, playing against a team that has surprised a lot of people. This feels like a Fitzmagical type of evening. But what have we been saying this entire time? Is Gardner Minshew Ryan Fitzpatrick?
Oh, no.
Are they the same person? Just different eras, different times? We will find out tonight. We will talk about that as the Jags are currently sitting at -3 at home. Do we think they'll cover? Maybe. Do we think the Dolphins going to get a win? Possibly. We got a lot of great guests today. Rob Ninkovich, former outside linebacker, defensive end for the New England Patriots for a long, long time, will join us in about 21 minutes. In the second hour, we have Ian Rappaport. From the NFL Network Insider. We'll talk to him about all the things happening behind closed doors in the NFL, both business and personal, and what we'll be looking forward to this weekend. And in the third hour, AJ Hawk will be joining us, and Darius Butler. Ooh. Yes, Darius Butler, who last week gave us a lock on Joey Burrow's over passing yardage, will give us another one for tonight's game. He was in the NFL for 9 years. He was a corner. He was a safety. He was very good at what he was. He was very, very smart. And he breaks down the tape and he says, hey, this is a lock for the passing yardage. To be honest, we might have cracked the code here when it comes to prop betting with this dude's big brain. That'll happen in the third hour. Can't wait for that. All the boys are here at Tone Diggs rocking a FanDuel shirt. I assume you're excited for a loaded weekend of gambling that begins tonight at the Jags -3, Tone Diggs.
I am, Pat. It's my favorite thing every week. And everyone's on the Jags tonight. 90% of the money. I don't know.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. Wow.
90% of the money is on the Jaguars tonight because they've surprised everybody in the Dolphins. Although last year they won some games they weren't supposed to win. The defense hasn't completely come together yet. Is that because they got some new pieces down there? Probably. Will this be the game that they come back and figure it out? Probably. Probably a much simpler game plan. It's Thursday night football, short week, but also the offense is doing it, and they have to face a guy who only had one incompletion with in Gardner Minshew. B-Flow's down there. Kyle Van Noy's down there in Miami. They're starting to call them the South Beach Patriots or whatever you guys are calling them. You have to feel pretty good about watching all the ex-New Englanders fail whenever they go to other places.
Big time, but honestly, I feel great about the Dolphins. I mean, this is Fitz magic, baby. This is prime time magic. You can't go against the heart of a plumber in the brain of a
Harvard man.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go
it backwards. Lead off with the Harvard, then send it into the toilet with the plumber.
Didn't go to Harvard, so I would mix that up.
But you feel good about that. And to your point at Boston Connor, Ty Schmidt said this does feel like a magical evening, or it could be
Minshew Mania.
This could be the passing of the baton.
It really could, passing of the torch. So, like you said, I mean, who knows? These guys might be the same person. I really hope they just go out and each throw like 5 touchdowns and have 500 yards.
We could very easily see Gardner Minshew take the same career path as Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Win 7 to 9 games in like 14 different teams. But every team you go on, it is not loaded for you to actually succeed. Like if you look at any of the teams that Ryan Fitzpatrick was on, they were just kind of thrown together teams with Ryan Fitzpatrick there. We're trying to either figure out the future or trying to get over the past. Ryan Fitzpatrick has been the fill gap for a lot of people. So a lot of people are like, he only wins an average amount of games. It's like, yeah, but let's also look at the situation. He's not just like, they're not building a team around Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's been just like like the plug-and-play guy for a long time and has had a lot of success, mediocre success, also some good success in some places that nobody would expect. Last year with the Miami Dolphins, for instance, is one of them.
Yep.
That's why they got Tua and not Joey Burrow, because they won some games that nobody thought they'd be able to win. Gardner Minshew, he's already off to a hot start.
Yep.
Down in Jacksonville, they're just unloading players, trying to figure out what the future is potentially. He'll probably win them some games like he did against the Indianapolis Colts, and last year he was able to do. And he might get caught just in that purgatory of quarterbacks where it's like, hey, we need you here, we need you here. He could follow the exact same career path of Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I think as an NFL fan, would be thankful to see another quarterback that does what that does.
Absolutely. This also kind of feels like, I mean, I could be completely wrong, but it feels like the Jags could just lay an egg tonight with everyone kind of talking about him. And
Whoa.
I mean, well, hey,
that's not what Minshew mania is.
Well, I know, and that's why it's tough to say. But I also think Fitzpatrick wants to go out there and say, hey, listen, I got plenty of bullets left in the gun.
Yeah, because a lot of people are asking, when are we going to see Tua? Because Air Bear got thrusted into action this past weekend against the Super Bowl champs because one of the Chargers doctors took a needle and shoved it into Tyrod Taylor's lung. Tyrod Taylor, we have to hammer this home because much like Ryan Fitzpatrick has been the fill guy for a lot of places, Tyrod Taylor has been the most unlucky quarterback. Takes the Buffalo Bills to the playoffs for the first time in forever. Hey, you know what? We decided, go and get out of here.
We want someone else.
Goes to Cleveland Browns of all places during Hard Knocks, not an easy time. Our guy Hugh is an incredible tequila maker and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
He's a great interview. But as a head coach, who knows how it all went over there?
Terrible.
He gets hurt. Baker Mayfield comes in and has the best night he's ever had in the NFL. And Tyrod Taylor's now a thing of the past.
Sorry, Tyrod.
So he goes out to the Chargers. Hey, you'll back up Phillip Rivers. Okay, then when Phillip Rivers now, here we go. You're our guy. You're our guy. Everybody's saying you're our guy. You'll be our guy. Team saying you're our guy. He gets a needle shoved in his lung.
A team doctor.
By a team doctor. And with the Chiefs not having their best day, not that the Chargers, by the way, it wasn't that the Chargers didn't look impressive. Okay, Air Bear looked very, very, very impressive, which, by the way, to the point even more, that sucks for Tyrod Taylor. But who says Tyrod Taylor doesn't win that game? Has anybody said it? Tyrod Taylor wins that game. By the way, we're having a completely different conversation about everything. But instead, Air Bear rises to the occasion, plays a great game, almost beats the Super Bowl champs. And now it's week to week with Tyrod Taylor. And I would assume at some point they're going to have to answer to some of their fans. They have some fans at like, hey, are we not building for the future? We got to do this. The guy's already played. And Tyrod Taylor's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Can we just think about maybe for 1 second about my career, how it's just been littered with incredibly unfortunate situations. But I want to let you know, Tyrod Taylor, we're a big fan of you and your lung. T's and P's to both of you.
Is it detrimental to Mr. A-Bear?
Air Bear, please. Yeah.
A-Bear.
He is a bear, I guess, on the field. Boy, he is.
knock
You see him
that
knock
out.
that guy out. He is a bear out there. Air Bear, though. He's flying through the sky.
Well, I got a little French quarter in me. A-Bear.
No, but what I'm saying is
Air.
it's what I'm saying is right. I do believe.
Yeah.
I do believe.
Air-Bear.
Maybe a bear is 100% right.
Is it detrimental to him, like, if he does have a couple of good games and Anthony Lynn does want to bring Tyrod back, and then like they keep pulling this game where he's in, he's out, he's in, he's out?
I don't even want to think about it because that's a lot bigger than just Air Bear and Tyrod Taylor. That's a whole locker room now you got to worry about. I mean, that doctor doing what that doctor did to Tyrod Taylor's lung, which, by the way, we talked to people who have had the same procedure done on regular occasion. They say that they're told every single time that is a possible outcome. I don't know if that's what happened to Tyrod, but they're told every single time. But the chances are so low, very, very, very low. So it's always a possible outcome, but the chances of it happening very, very low. If it wasn't for that doctor just doing that I don't think somebody hasn't done since the 90s, they said, 1990s.
Can't be doing it.
I mean, that is just tough for Tyrod. It's like I was going to take a trip to, I think it was Costa Rica. It was pretty cool. I took some vitamins. So I was like, I want to go to Costa Rica.
Beautiful place.
And they market a volcano like being one of the attractions.
Yeah.
And the thing hadn't gone off since like, I don't know, 1940s or something like that.
Oh.
Literally, as I'm driving to the airport, the thing for the first time. So as I'm driving to the airport to fly there, the thing goes off for the first time. I get a news alert. Costa Rica volcano goes off for like the first time. I forget how many years. It was decades, though. It was a long, long time. And no refund because it was day of trip, right? Yeah, they're like, you can still come. We're still accepting flights or whatever and everything.
Really?
I'm like, oh, is that right? Is that right? So I, not at a professional level, experienced something that is just so outrageous just to be like, oh, what the fuck? Tyrod Taylor has to be like, what? This hasn't happened since the 90s, dude. Like, what are we even doing?
Been screwed over everywhere he's been. His best years, really, you could say, were with Flacco in Baltimore, behind footsteps.
Hey, everybody that played for the Baltimore Ravens when Tyrod was there, if he come up comes, it's like, hey, that guy's a guy.
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor was very, very good. And I'm happy he's gotten a chance to see it, but that is incredibly unfortunate. At Viva Lazito here, the Don with a big chain on, sitting on the couch, has a poll today that we would like you to participate in.
Yes.
At Viva Lazito to find said poll. Zito, what is your big old poll today?
The poll today is Fitzmagic versus Minshew Mania tonight. Who you got? And right now, Fitzmagic is at 23.4%, Minshew Mania at 76.6%.
So, Magic is losing by roughly 53% to Minshew Mania. Right?
No one respects
The
him.
disrespect.
Hey,
How
there's
many times has Fitzmagic been counted out?
at Bubba Gumpino, a man who is a diehard Dolphins fan from the north left part of Canada. somehow.
Furthest point.
I don't know how you become the furthest bottom right team fan from the furthest north
fins
left,
up, pal.
almost in Russia over there. But he is a loyal son of a bitch.
Oh, yeah.
And tonight, you think Fitzpatrick is about to run wild through Minshew Mania over there in Duval, huh?
In this matchup, Pat, the away team 5-2 against the spread last 7 meetings.
Hey, do I need to know anything else? No. But do stats and analytics matter when you're talking about Magic or Mania?
No, you can throw those out the window.
That's the thing about Magic, baby.
True.
So I don't love what you just said there, Gumpy, actually, because I'm leaning Magic, by the way.
Oh, come on.
I'm leaning Magic.
It's because you're a beard guy.
By the end of this show, by the way, he was talking about patchy sides. Like,
Yeah.
some of us have bad mustache and patchy sides. Fitzmagic. So.
Well, he's a good guy.
I think there were
he's a
some
good guy.
ricochet shots there across the bow that I did not think I deserved.
He's a good guy, though.
He is a good guy.
Yeah.
And he hits a golf ball 7,000 yards. And I think he's got 14 kids that are all smarter than all of us.
Smart as hell.
Remember he brought them all?
He was like just hanging out.
Yeah, he didn't want to leave.
They all had perfect swings,
Babysitter,
too.
pretty much.
By the way, love Ryan Fitzmagic.
Yeah.
And I assume if we ever met Gardner Minshew, we would also enjoy the hell out
Absolutely.
of him. So I'm kind of torn in this entire process. But for me, by the end of this show, I will have a firm lock on it. And I'm going to go max bet, by the way, so we can all just kind of roll the dice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, we got to get to a break. Nailed it. I only play like 6 songs. I used to make fun of Nick and like mock him.
There's only about 6 of them.
There really is only about 6 songs.
Yeah, unfortunately.
If you have any,
Obviously.
this one, that's the leadoff though. I don't want to ruin that. So if you are a independent musician out there, you're not signed to a label.
No.
We would love for you to submit music for us to play, and we'll even give you, like for instance, This Is Twine. We subscribe to a playlist that has a bunch of songs on there, and not all of them even have the name of the person that made them because that's what you're paying for. But if you send in a song that makes it on the air, I would assume that CFO Phil will send some sort of cash. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Merch.
We need to open up our library of music because I'm a big music guy, and I want to slap myself in the face sometimes.
Sure.
And the Sirius fans are like, hey, you can play any music on Sirius, and I agree. But we are also on the YouTube, which, by the way, the YouTube, boy, they come from the top rope on anything that potentially sounds like it's potentially something.
Oh, yeah.
Big elbows.
12:15 here on the Eastern Daylight Time. On the other side, Rob Ninkovich will be joining us, formerly of the New England Patriots. Maybe a phone call before he gets on as well. And there's an entire list of things that we have to cover. It is our sidebar popping. There's a lot of show that has to happen still, and we can't thank you enough for listening and watching wherever the hell you may be. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Thursday, September 24th. We're back on the other side.
Before we get into the actual on-ice stuff, some quick little breaking news off-ice. Big news, actually. Come on, guys, quick. Let's give a round of applause to Goldberg. He's back. Goldberg's back. He's off the meth. Sean Weiss, 230 days sober. Remember that viral mugshot that went all over the internet earlier this year? He's got new teeth. He's healthy. He's gained some weight back. And 230 days sober, that's a big deal. Good to have Goldberg back.
That's unbelievable. Let's go, Goldberg. I am pumped to see him because, man, he did not look good there for a minute. He was starting to wither away to nothing. He had a heck of a tan, though. I mean, an unbelievable tan. But, man, I'm glad he's back. I'm glad he gained some weight back. I'm glad he's got new teeth. Maybe we got a D, what are we on, D4, D5? Is that where we're up next?
They got a new series coming to Disney Plus, so maybe we get a cameo from him because they obviously did not cast him because of said meth. And I wrote him off. I thought he was minutes away from death. He looked like a corpse, but he's back.
Aaron today said that basically
Jesus.
Scott Stapp launched the career for Aaron Rodgers, and Scott Stapp then replied to Pat's tweet about it. So basically, Scott Stapp is now in our lives.
Yes!
Woo! I just heard the news today. It seems my life is gonna change. I take it on. I take them out my side. I'm hearing on and all my faith with arms wide open.
That's incredible.
Boys, we did it.
Hey, let's welcome him with arms wide open.
We do. Scott Stapp, this is an open invitation. Whenever you want to come in, please.
We love you, Scott.
We love you, Scott.
Love you, buddy.
We love you, Scott.
The Pat McAfee Show. The Pat McAfee Show.
Yikes. That one was
On
great.
Mad Dog Sports Radio.
I mean, there we go.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
There's a little bit of a remix there with that lady.
Need that every once
The Pat McAfee Show. Welcome back to that show. Here on Mad Dog Sports Radio. And on the YouTube. 1-888 Dog 6. If you want to call in or tweet along with the show or questions to the show using the hashtag Pat McAfee Show Live if you can't get through, because the lines are normally full. Is that good?
Is that good?
Let's go to Kevin in New York. What's going on, Kevin?
Hey, what's going on, Pat? How you doing?
Hey, not too shabby, Kev. I appreciate you calling in. What do you want to talk about, brother? We got Rob Ninkovich in 4 minutes. Oh, okay.
I was going to... Oh, sorry. Sorry for interrupting you. I was going to talk about the New York Giants. Like, what would you do since you already lost Saquon Barkley and you already lost OBJ a couple years ago? What would you do after picking up Devontae Freeman?
Great question. Well, I think losing OBJ a couple years ago has nothing to do with what's going on in the Giants right now. I think what you should think about is if you're a Giants fan, and we have one in the building, and it's kind of hilarious. Mr. Mansouri is a Giants fan, which I understand it had its good times probably.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But here, as of late, it has been a little bit rough.
Yeah.
You had that guy from Pittsburgh that was an Irish guy, but he slicked his hair back. McAdoo guy, he was tough. I mean, that was tough. I mean,
Please don't put Pittsburgh on him.
Well, I didn't want to know it either, by the way.
He's from Indiana, which is completely different.
Okay.
Indiana, PA. Sorry.
Okay, Indiana, PA, which is outside. It's 2 hours outside of Pittsburgh.
Basically Indiana.
Might be 6 hours outside. Okay, so I didn't know that because somebody put McAdoo on Pittsburgh one time when I was talking to him, like, oh, home McAdoo. I was like, whoa. Marino, Montana, like we can go through. No, McAdoo's from there. I'm like, whoa.
Homer City, wherever Homer City, PA.
Yeah, so we have no idea. But anyways, they had a lot of bad times, right? There was a lot of bad times there as of late. And then it seems as if it's only getting worse. And then Joe Judge comes in there, and he's tasked with flipping a franchise that was once very, very glorious, and for a long time was, and even in recent history was very good, but has kind of lost its way. And he's trying to set a new standard, trying to set a new culture. You hear about it where they're running laps and this, and the attention to detail has been asked because I guess they're the worst team in the last 3 years in the history of the NFL or anybody else. So it's one of those things where this stinks for Giants fans, but I think you just have to look in the mirror and understand that the team you cheer for is in the middle of what we like to call a full rebuild.
Yeah.
And whenever I was at the Colts and we had a 2-14 year, and we drafted Andrew Luck, and we had a bunch of young guys playing, and we had an entirely new offense, defense, GM, everything. Everybody's like, oh, it's a rebuild. But we had enough old guys on that team, Robert Mathis, Reggie Wayne. There was a lot of older kind of stud guys. Vinatieri was still around, where Robert Mathis was like, this ain't a rebuild, this is a reload, okay? And we did. We won games. Andrew Luck put us on his back a couple times. He made some mistakes, obviously, but we won games. I think, though, in this particular case, it is not a reload, actually. No. This is a rebuild. And Devontae Freeman, I think they want to play good football. They want to go hard. They probably had the money to spend on him or whatever. He's good. But I don't think the Giants in their head have any expectation. Now, the players would want to win every single game, by the way, because they get paid. And I assume assistant coaches would as well. But I would assume over there in the building, they're like, hey, if we win 5-6 games this year, we're in a very good spot. Like, let's know that we're building towards something in the future. And Saquon Barkley getting hurt sucks for that entire vision. But him buying in to the Joe Judge culture, which is what Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit said that entire first game, is massive to the success of the Giants in the near future. And I'm not saying next year he can't be good. I don't think rebuild is one of those like 3-4 year things. I don't even think that's possible anymore because coaches will get fired before that could even happen. So I just think this is a year where it's not going to be great football, but hey, they're going to try hard out there.
Is Devonta Freeman the most confident human being in the world, seeing where Saquon gets like 15 rushes for 6 yards, and he's like, oh, I'll go in there, and then I'll do well, and then maybe I'll get paid?
I would hope so. I mean, I think if I'm a running back, by the way.
Because he picked the Giants over.
By the way, if I'm a running back, over Carolina, right?
I don't know the other teams, but
I think Carolina needed one, Carolina needed one. So it's, there's probably multiple reasons that go in there, but not just like, I think this team's going to do better. But for me, if I'm a running back, hey, every time I get the ball, touchdown.
Hell yeah.
Right? Joining me now is a man who probably has the same exact feeling. Super athlete, freak defensive end and outside linebacker for the New England Patriots. Now on ESPN, ladies and gentlemen, Rob Ninkovich. Boy, Rob.
Yeah, baby. What's up? How we doing?
Hey, not too shabby. Let's talk about your old coach, Bill Belichick, looking like a homeless man at a press conference. Let's talk about it.
I mean, he looked like he was in a bear attack. It's all good. Look, there's nothing wrong. Hey, Bill is a mastermind of like playing mind games with people. So he probably woke up. He's like, yeah, I got an interview because he sleeps in the building. Let's not mistaken that. He sleeps inside that building. The dude's got $150 million in the bank. He's probably made $300 in his career, and he's sleeping on a couch in his office. So look, he woke up. He said, hey, I'm going into this thing just like this. We're playing the Raiders. Why not? I'm going to look like I just got mauled by a grizzly.
So by the way, everything you just said made me respect him even more. Yeah. Last night I saw a video. CBS Sports put it out on their TikTok, which was then ripped by somebody to put on their Instagram, and I shared it on my Instagram story. Long road of saying it was Bill Belichick mic'd up during a game, and some guy comes jogging over from the Ravens or something. He says like, oh, day I'm going to do that. And Bill goes, oh, you shut the fuck up. And he was like, the guy was like, I think like trying to be nice to Bill. And it was like, let's talk after the game. And then the guy, you don't even hear the guy say anything back. And he goes, why don't you look at the fucking scoreboard, too? I was like, this guy is a savage, because this is not the person you ever hear at these press conferences. At these press conferences, it's this guy who's just like, okay, listen, I'm the greatest coach of all time. I can act however I want to act up here. Be who you can afford to be implies to me as well in these press conferences. And you're just going to have to like it. And the world is going to be entertained to all hell with my press. I love his press conferences. But from behind closed doors, is he just a savage of a man, obviously?
I mean, look, he's Bill Belichick. He's got the ultimate Trump power. Like, look, this dude walks in the room and everyone sits up straight. And you kind of like, you know, the one thing that happens a lot is when you're walking through the building, in the Patriots building, there's like a bunch of little corridors, and you don't know sometimes who you're going to run into. And you'll just be, you know, shooting the breeze with somebody walking down the hallway, and Bill just makes that corner, and you instantly just stop talking. And you just like, you just kind of look at him and you're like, hey, coach, how you doing? And he just keeps, he doesn't even say anything. He just keeps walking. So there's many a moments where you're just like in that awkward stage of like, hey, so you know what's funny? I'm going to tell this funny. This is a hilarious story.
Yes.
Here we go.
Here we go. Yeah, here we go, Rob.
So my old man, right? So Mike Ninko, he's like he's an iron worker.
Here we go.
Retired now, but
Rust
he's a blue collar Midwestern guy from Chi-Town. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Very done.
So after the games, there's like a little spot where the family can go, and you have a couple. You could have whatever. It's like in the cafeteria. You sit down, have a shake, have food, whatever, drink, Gatorades, waters. My old man's, walking out, and he sees Bill standing there, and we had played the Dolphins that particular game, and it's after the game. And Bill's standing there. My dad walks right up to him. He's like, "Hey, you like grilled fish? You like filleted fish?" And Bill's like, looking at him like, "Well, what do you mean? He didn't know what to say." My dad's like, "You guys filleted them fish up today." And I was looking at my dad like, "Did you really just say that to Bill Belichick?" Like, did you really just say that like corny, terrible line to Bill Belichick, the greatest of all time? And my dad just like, "What? I don't give a shit." Who he is.
Did Bill respond? Did Bill respond or just walk it off?
He smiled. He did like his kind of awkward evil smile, I was just standing there shaking my head like, "Oh my God."
Not a bad attempt, but we're on to the fried tigers.
Yeah.
The thing about Bill Belichick though is he seems to bring out the best in every player. I'm not talking as a human, whatever, probably that as well, but as a player, people perform up there whenever they go up there. And right now, Pro Football Focus, which is a company we love around here, should stay around for as long as possible.
The staple of ranking players.
They named me the punter of the decade.
Every year, Pro Football Focus said I was replaceable because they had no idea what my responsibilities were.
That was before they got good.
We don't need to hear that, Rob. They called me the punter of the decade, so we need them to stay in business.
I'm kidding. They, look, I love Pro Football Focus. It motivated me every year.
But there is some situations where they don't exactly know what they're talking about. We try to keep those to the side though, because we want them to continue to exist. Because of if they die, my title dies. So we need to hang on to that as strong.
I love that. I love PFF. They're the best.
Yeah. Woo! I mean, they definitely have some
PFF, baby. Let's go.
They definitely have some drawbacks. I mean, there's definitely, but yeah, we love them. Anyways,
I love PFF.
Yeah, they said they probably graded you terribly, huh? They had no idea you were.
Yeah, they did.
Bad.
Slow white guy.
Not kind.
Oh, they graded me very well though. So I like, hey, yo, PFF.
Yeah, great hang time.
Yeah. So Pro Football Focus though said that Cam Newton is currently playing at his best he's ever played. Now, we're only 2 games into this thing, but higher PFF grade than what he had at the Carolina Panthers. And I'm not 100% sure if Pro Football Focus's drawbacks of not knowing what people are supposed to do on certain plays necessarily counts for the quarterback, because I assume it's almost pretty easy unless somebody misreads something, so we can say it's accurate. But let's assume they're potentially accurate in their grading of quarterbacks. They're saying Cam Newton's playing better than he ever has. Knowing what you know about the way Bill Belichick coaches and McDaniels and how they approach the game, is this something that should have been expected if you take out the their personalities won't get along thing?
100%. I mean, look, Bill, what does Bill do best? He makes people, and he has a person come into the building, he evaluates their talent and their skill levels, and he makes sure that the team is at their best with getting the most out of each player, right? So when you look at Cam, they probably saw a lot of things that they never were able to install in their offense, and now You see them in the red zone. What are they doing in the red zone? They're running 11-on-11 football, and they're running powers for Cam Newton. So that is something that Bill absolutely loves. Bill loves power football, just straight downhill runs. He absolutely loves that. So for him to have a quarterback that he feels he can just run straight downhill with, he loves that. I mean, every single game. And the last game, the Seattle game where they had that last play, he would run that same play over and over and over again. And he doesn't care if people are going to judge like, oh, you should have done this, should have done that. He loves the fact that he can take Cam Newton and the dude's 6'6", 240 and just go straight downhill and punch in the face. So I'm telling you, I think that the accuracy on Pro Football Focus and Cam playing at his best he ever has, I agree with that because the Patriots are going to make sure that he is in the right position and they're going to run the right plays for Cam. And look, their receiving core, I mean, think about it. They don't even have a crazy receiving core, and Julian Edelman just had the best game of his career. So it's nuts that they're able to get the most out of everybody that they have on the roster right now. So they're only going to get better. Now, defensively, they got to be able to stop the run. That's the biggest thing in my book. Like, you got to be able to stop the run. Offensively, I feel like they're going to continue to improve and get better as the season progresses.
Let's talk about on the defensive side of the ball because Cam Newton is proving to be a great passer as well. Seattle, I mean, Julian Edelman just had his biggest game, 160 yards or whatever, but he was dropping the ball in the bucket too, and it still looked like he had that kind of big wind-up and the ball was coming out fast, but
he kind of does the crazy throw, you know?
But he throws the shit out of it, so who cares how it comes out? You got to do what you got to do.
He's got a cannon.
Yeah, so let's talk about when you're a defender, outside linebacker, defensive end, not just you, but the entire defense. When you know that the coach you're playing against, greatest coach of all time, Bill Belichick, has his Navy background and is absolutely obsessed with power football, how does that open things up potentially for Cam Newton to throw the ball, maybe in a different setting than what Carolina Panthers were doing with Cam Newton?
Well, we all know this. If you understand the game of football, and the more you run the football and the success that you have in the running game, that sets up all your play action pass. So what that does is it gives you that 10, 15 yards in that uncover zone in the middle between your front and your secondary, where guys like Julian Edelman, you know, that's where he makes his career in the intermediate routes. And, you know, guys are going to be wide open because you're going to have a little bit of space there with your linebackers respecting the run. So I think that, look, they're using Cam to the best of his abilities by running the football, setting the tone and running the football, and then pulling the ball out and throwing it down the field.
I heard you take a little shot at the defense there in your last answer about how they need to stop.
Yeah, you got to stop the run, and they weren't able to stop the run. So, look, I'm Seattle to throw the football on 3rd and 1 down the field like they're complete idiots. They should have ran the football. They were having 5 yards to carry. I mean, you have 5 yards to carry. Why are you throwing the football on 3rd and 1? Doesn't make sense.
When you watch the game, do you watch it as like a outside linebacker, D lineman, or are you watching as a fan? Is it just following the ball? How do you, when you like watch games? Is it?
I'm watching. Usually, I'm standing up. Sometimes I put a helmet on. Other times not. And I usually like kind of do a little rock. Sometimes I rock when I'm talking too. Like I do like a little toe tap rock because I get like pumped up still. My wife makes fun of me about it. She's like, look, you're 36. Give it up. You can't do it. And I still believe that there's a little glimmer that I can in the back of my head. And then I see people get hit, and I'm like, I don't want any part of that. But anyway, I usually watch the game as like a linebacker. I see how the front comes out. I try to like see the strength, and I do all my run pass stuff like if I was playing. I mean, that's just what I do because when you play a long time, you know, it's like ingrained in my head. Okay, what's the set? What's the chances of run pass? That's usually how I watch the game, and then I yell at the TV when a simple play is messed up.
That's so intriguing to me because I didn't even think about that particular style of watching a game until I watched with like a couple of my teammates or whatever they're watching. And before, like it was like Tony Romo, but from every other position that was coming out. They're like, slot or whatever. And it was the linebacker watching, and the guy jumped, and it was like, slot was what? Like a second and a half later, the slot hit right down his name. I'm like, oh, so you're not even watching. Like, I'm watching the ball. You're not even watching the ball. They're just watching strictly the linebackers. And I'm like, that's a completely different style of watching football than what I just want to let you know. Very different game you and I are watching.
Well, I know the specialistas. I mean, look, we've seen it in the special teams phase of things. Look, we've seen the Cowboys win one in the special teams phase. I don't know what the Falcons were doing on that onside kick. Great onside kick, though. I respect that onside kick. That was one of the best onsides I've seen in a long time because with these new rules, we're not seeing like the normal onside kick.
Yeah.
Look at the amount of Falcons around that football watching that ball.
Rob,
are you kidding me?
Rob, I know how well coached and situational football is up there in New England. Have you ever been more embarrassed for like a team than in this moment right here because you don't know the rules, or you didn't think it was going to go 10 yards. It's one or the other. You either didn't know the rules, or you didn't think it was going to go 10 yards. And if it's you didn't know the rules, that's an indictment on the coaches, rather hard.
When the coaching interview or the coaches after the game say, we knew the rules, you know they didn't know the rules. Because they said that first. They're like, we went through this. We know. We practiced this. There's no way they knew the rules if they're like, okay, on this particular kick, we're going to make sure it dies out here before 10 yards. We're going to watch it, and we're going to let the Cowboys guy just stand right over it. When it goes 10 yards, he's just going to fall right on it, and then we'll get it from him. Like, obviously they didn't go over the play, and it made me go crazy. And we had Scotty O'Brien was a special teams coordinator with the Patriots when I was there for the early parts when I just got there, 2009. And he would always say this, he'd be like, whoop, 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 whoop. He would like stutter on his words. Whoop, 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 whoop. What are we doing? Like, I guarantee he's watching that play and he's screaming, whoop, 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 like stuttering on what are we doing? Because that was probably one of the worst special teams plays I've seen in a long time.
I agree, and special teams are filled with dumb plays. That was because a large part of special teams is understanding what you can and can't do because there's such different plays. So like coaches going through all those situations is a massive part of special teams. It's like, hey, when this happens, we can do this, we can't do this, we can do this, we can't do this, especially with the changes. So it's obviously, maybe they went over it like one day in training camp or whatever, but that's something like situational football is where everything happens. And I think that, from talking to Vinatieri, the Patriots, that's like their weapon. Diggs, what do you got?
Rob, have you ever had to get a pain injection into your ribs?
Actually, yeah. So we were playing the Raiders at Raiders. I think it was like 2013 or 2014, I believe. And I was on a tight end with my hands, like I had my arms extended, and McFadden was running like a power play, and he just put his head down. He hit me right in the ribs, like with his helmet, full speed. And I remember like falling, like a big pile of people fell. And like, as he hit me, I just remember thinking in my head, like, this is so painful right now. I don't know if I can breathe. I might die right now. So I get up, I can't breathe.
Football.
I can't breathe. I go to the sidelines, and I still haven't had a breath. And I was out of breath. So I don't know if you've ever been out of breath and you can't breathe. It's like a really like panic moment.
Yeah.
So
drown.
I finally am able to breathe. I get off. I don't go in the game the rest of the game. It was like the fourth quarter. After the game, I remember it was like, because I hurt the cartilage. So it wasn't the rib. It was like in between the ribs, like your cartilage. It's almost like worse because – you know, people say like, oh, you didn't break a rib, but it's the cartilage, so just fight through it. I'm like, okay, I'll fight through it.
I didn't breathe. I was almost dead on the field, but yeah.
So I'll give you another funny story. So
hold on. Did you get a shot, though? Finish the story. Did you get the shot, that Marcane shot?
Of course I got a shot. I've had many shots. So during the week of practice, my ribs were really, really terribly sore. I could barely move. And think about a D linebacker. You really got to twist. You got to move. You're running. You're pulling. You're getting hit. So I go to see Alex. I go to see TB12. I go to see Alex, and you know they're gonna get you moving, right? So he's like, what we're gonna do is we're gonna massage the area, and we're gonna like free you up. So he's like literally taking his fingers like in between my ribs, and I just remember having my arm up like this, and I was just literally like having like a moment where I didn't even I wanted to like just say, I don't think I'm going to play. I think I'm just going to retire today. And afterwards he's like, how's it feel now? And I was drenched in sweat because I was in pain. I was drenched. I stood up, and it was like the pain was gone because obviously he had just massaged in between my ribs and the cartilage was messed up. And I remember being like, yeah, that feels a little bit better. That's good. Okay. So that was on a Friday. We played that Sunday. Boom, got the shot in there. I mean, it was painful after the fact, but it was fine. I mean, once you get the shot, you're good. You don't, obviously they messed up and they went too deep on him and they screwed him up.
Were you told when you got those rib shots that there was a chance you could puncture your lung?
No, they don't say that.
See, everybody I talked to said that they did say that they said yeah.
Really? I mean, I remember just having the shot, and I was like, I'm good. And then I did the Toradol, and then you're like, extra good.
Toradol's the best. I've never done the Marcaine in the rib thing, but two people I talked to that have gotten similar shots, they said that when the doctor was doing it, there was like, there's a chance of this happening, they said to him. But that might have been a very different doctor.
I don't remember that. I might have also been like out of my mind because it was before the game or in pain. So I don't know. But most of the time, I mean, look, I was in the room with Danny Amendola once, and we both were going to get our knee drained. And I was like, all right, you go first, and then I'll go. And I remember the guy like took the needle out, and it was so big. It was like the biggest gauge needle I've ever seen. And like I see him stick it in Danny, and he's like making this face, and then I see the yellow stuff come out, and I just look at Danny and I'm like, bro, I feel pretty good. A couple of Tylenols, Advil. I didn't get it done. I was like, "There's no way I'm letting you stick that in my knee right now. There's no way."
So I got my knee drained one time, and exactly what you're talking about. That needle is so thick and
huge.
It's like a spoon they're sticking in there almost.
And then they move it around in your knee, and then so if like they draw a little bit and there's some blood, they're like, oh, this isn't the pocket. Then they move it around, and then they get like the yellow, because it's like a yellowy clear crap that comes out of your knee.
So they did it to mine, and I got mine locked up because of how quickly it was pulled out or whatever. So there was like a 10-minute period where I couldn't bend my leg, and it hurt more than it's ever hurt in my life. And I was like, oh my, what did I fucking do? I just got a spoon in me, and I can't move. And then the 11th minute, by the way, knee felt brand new. I was like, oh my God,
when you take the pressure out of there, when you take that pressure out of the knee, it's like you feel insanely good. Because I couldn't bend, like my last year, I had like limited motion because like I had like grade 2, whatever they call degeneration of your knee stuff going on. So like I'd be playing and I'd look down and I'd be like, yeah, I got a big ass like ball of water on my knee. It sucked.
The thought of people learning, though, because of this Tyrod Taylor thing about the amount of injections and things that people go through to play football, I think has been eye-opening for a lot of folks here in the last 24 hours. Like our conversation right now, I assume there's a lot of people watching that are like, what? You've gotten how many injections? Oh, because you just casually said, oh, yeah, I've gotten a lot of injections. Yeah. And then right into it's happening to get guys on the field. That's why the additional game is such a massive conversation. But to get guys on the field each week, there is a lot of shit happening behind the scenes. That
in college at Purdue was my first experience. We were playing Illinois, and I separated my AC joint, and I went in at halftime, and when they shoot your AC joint up, they go right through your AC joint. So they go right through the top of it. They stick the needle in there, and then they inject it. Ugh. And I remember like the pain of that. I was like, oh my God, this really, really hurts. And then it numbs up, and then you play the game. And I literally couldn't untie my shoes I couldn't even tie my shoes. I couldn't go down. I couldn't take my shoes off. I couldn't move my arm the next day because once that stuff wears off, it's like crazy painful. So, yeah, I mean, the injections, they work for the games. I'm telling you, they work good.
Hey, Toradol was the best, man. And then the next day you realize, oh, I pulled my hamstring yesterday.
Toradol, I would take the Toradol shot in my shoulder because I felt like it hit my heart quicker.
Connor, please.
Yeah, Rob, the Patriots don't have a defensive coordinator, but Steve Belichick has been calling plays in. What does he bring to New England, and is he going to take over the throne for Bill when he retires?
That's a good question. Look, I mean, I think that the hierarchy and how the plays are called, and like Bill really doesn't go out and officially name who the DC is. He did that in years past, too. Like Matty P's first year, I even think B. Flo, he didn't name them the defensive coordinators. I mean, I don't know why or the logic to that, but at the end of the day, I think Steve obviously has been around football since he came out of the womb, and it's just in his blood. So I would suspect that he's going to have a big opportunity or a big role to be an expanded role as far as name the DC next year. I know Gerard Mayo, he's going to be in the mix too because he's obviously one of the smartest guys I played with. Really good, smart player. Really, he's probably a really good, smart coach to top that off. So I think that between Mayo and Steve, it's going to be, who's going to get it. And I don't know, maybe the "that's my son" thing helps out. I don't know. So Steve's a great coach, though, and I enjoyed my time with Steve when I was playing, Steve had just come in. He just got out of college, so he was working basically like the grunt hours, making the copies, doing all the crazy stuff that you have to do that Bill makes everybody do when they become a coach in New England. So, I mean, he's paid his dues. So, and his mullet looks great, by the way.
Great.
Oh, yeah.
That rat, I mean, it looks awesome on the backside of that thing. And it does look like he cuts it himself. Like, it looks like he actually just takes house scissors.
It's Bill's dressing. Whoever dresses Bill does the haircut.
I love it. I just love how comfortable they are. The Big Ten is playing. They got 8 weeks. Iowa representative here, Ty. I don't know if it's about college or not, but I literally just saw Ty's face. I thought of Iowa, and I remembered you went to Purdue. And do you even care about? Do you care about Big Ten football?
I'm happy that they're playing. Look, I had said it when they didn't have a season that I was concerned for the guys, the football players that weren't going to have a season. And I mean, I'm not going to sit up here and lie to anybody. How did I have the motivation every day to go to school and to get up and do all the right things and make the right decisions? Because I played football. So
yeah,
I went to school to play football. I know that sounds terrible, but at the end of the day, I fell in love with the game and I was addicted to it. And I knew that if I had the opportunity and I wanted to continue to play, I had to do the right things and make the right choices in the classroom. So that's what really kept me in the right state of mind for school and kept me motivated to do the right thing. So I was concerned that with no season, a lot of these players, like, they would fall into maybe a bad routine, not really paying attention as much as they should, or going to class the way they should. Because literally, I mean, look, when you're 18, 19, 20 years old, football is your world. I mean, it was my world. So I did everything I could to make sure that I didn't affect my ability to play football. And if you don't go to class and you don't get the grades and make a bad choice off the field, then that can affect you playing football. So I was nervous for guys not having football and failing out of school, not being eligible.
Yeah, I agree. And there was also that conversation at one point where they were potentially not going to be allowed on campus. They're going to be sent home. It was crazy. The Big Ten's back there. They're only allowing 8 weeks. It's never going to work, but I'm excited that they're giving it a go. Rob, I hope you join us again, man. This has been a great conversation.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, I think, has beaten teams that you played for like 3 times or something like that. And tonight, I think so. I think he
has he. I don't know. Let's check the roster, the schedule. I think he played for the Bills. I sacked, fumbled. Played for the Jets. I batted down like 10 passes in one game because he's got a low trajectory.
Whoa!
That's the Magic Man.
We will not take this slander of the Magic tonight.
But he has a great beard, and guess what? He's a good dude. So when I saw him after the game last year when the Dolphins beat the Patriots in New England. I saw him after the game. He said, "I'm happy you're not playing anymore."
No, that's a good. That's a lot.
That's a
lot of.
What I'm going to do today, I'm going to go ride this driver all the way about 350.
Yeah.
Look at this guy. This is my guy. I ride that horse every time I hit a massive shot right down the fairway.
Oh, I bet you are awesome to play alongside. Ladies and gentlemen, Super Bowl champ couple times. Ladies and gentlemen, Rob Ninkovich.
You're a hole, boys. See you later.
Good luck out there, pal.
Thank you. See you guys.
Yeah, I got injections all the time. Just openly. Yeah,
plenty.
Here. Him going to TB12, by the way, that is what they do. It hurts. I got one TB12 treatment from somebody that's a part of that TB12 because before they made the hub in Boston full time and they became exclusive basically to the New England Patriots at one point, they had guys that traveled around the league. And Vinatieri had a guy that came out, and Vinny was like, "Hey, I'll pay for your first one," because it was expensive or whatever. Traveled in on like Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and then he would go to another team after that. They had like players all around, and it was the pliability thing that he promotes so much of. And they had this electrolyte dropper that they wanted you to use. It was an entire life system. I think I was hitting a gas bag when the guy walked in.
The expensive one,
because it was vape, right? It was a vape, so it was the most healthy version of vitamins that you could potentially have. But the guy showed up at my house. I was hitting a gas bag. I couldn't even fathom his thoughts that ran through his head because he's dealing with people who are like the most healthy people on earth. So then he gets into this. He gets into this deep tissue massage, right? He like gets in his deep tissue massage, and he's like, "We need to find pliability or whatever, you know." And he's in there, and I'm like crying. It hurt so bad. And the next day, the muscles that were potentially sore before said rub did feel better, like he worked out that. But then there was muscles that I didn't even know I had that felt like they were bruised, right? Because I don't think they've ever been touched stretched before. But 2 days later, my entire legs were like, felt rejuvenated or whatever. Wow. And I was like, okay, all right. So I had like a day and a half of just hell there, but the legs feel good. So I had a good game or whatever. But I wasn't going to commit completely yet. I'm like, let me see if I can go a week and have a just as good or better game, so I don't have to commit to 24 hours of hell for the rest of my career. Because I would assume that's what happens is these guys get these things done. It hurts so. Like the fact that Tom Brady's been able to do this for however long he's been able to do it. And Vinatieri did these deep tissue massages once a week or twice a week for like, I don't know how many years. The amount of pain that is happening. And by the way, I ain't got it. I couldn't commit to it. So whenever he was describing Alex doing that thing, all I could think about was this guy basically doing a handstand on his fingertips on my hamstrings and just scraping them up and down. I'm like, oh my God. But hey, I was pliable for 24 hours.
So it was only 24. It didn't help you like after the game. You were still just as sore as you would have been.
Well, yeah, because they get you like Tuesday,
Gotta get you the next week.
Yeah, so it's like you kind of get on like the plan, but
the pliable plan.
It's worked. All the players that I heard that were using it, it's like their muscles seem to have lasted longer than everybody else's. And Tom, great example.
Of course.
Adam Vinatieri, obviously a great example. But boy, it was a painful experience going through the whole
After hearing that, too, it makes sense why players want like medical marijuana for pain. Because you hear what he's talking about. It's like there's no way you could go through he couldn't tie his shoes. Like you're just popping Vicodins otherwise just to get through the week. Like,
I don't know. I don't recall. Because I wouldn't have been a person that would be asked if I wanted anything. But I guess like back in the day, those painkillers on the plane rides home were just, people said they were like Skittles. Like, and not at the Colts. Like, I'm not saying at the Colts. I'm just saying like the NFL conversation or the NFL, like, I think a lot of people thought it was just like walking through the halls, like basically like, hey, who needs one? Who needs one? That's what like the rumors were always at. I don't remember it ever being like that, to be honest, whenever I've been in the league. But there is always that Toradol. There's always like, hey, if you have this, we can do this. We can get you to the field. And every time the player has to okay it, right? And they're not doing anything that like he's not wanting to do. But also, if you're not on the field, like you probably lose your job.
Right.
So it's a very interesting dynamic. It's a very, very interesting.
Calvin Johnson, I think, said that when he was in the league, if you asked for a Vicodin, you could get it. So maybe it was just the Detroit Lions doing this.
Whoa. I don't know about that, dude. But it is. I would assume that there is the things that are happening to guys, and that's why the extra game is such like a massive negotiating piece, because one more game sounds like, oh, it's just one more game. The things that dudes are doing like week 5 and on just to get to Sunday or Thursday or Monday or wherever, it's wild. I mean, it's not the healthiest, I guess.
Feeling like shit for 7 days except for like 4 hours on Sunday. Like that's crazy.
That's football, baby.
That's football, baby. Hey, that's business, baby. Now, granted, it's not. Never want to compare it to real jobs.
No,
okay, never want to do that. But if you think about the humans that are playing it, you got to be like, all right, these dudes are pretty excruciating. Let's talk about our sponsor real quick, shall we? Whoop, which falls into this category. Whoop is a fitness wearable that provides daily personalized insights to you on your sleep recovery and how much stress you put on your body throughout the day from both your daily activity and the normal stressors of life. We've been using Whoop over here for the last few weeks, and it helps us train properly and know more about our body than we've ever known before. One of the great features of the app is their Strain Coach, which takes your recovery score and provides workout exertion recommendations so that your training is exactly in line with how your body is feeling each day. Wow. You'll prevent overtraining when your body needs to rest and push yourself whenever your body is ready to go. It is an amazing app that is all available to you with 15% off when you use code McAfee at checkout. Go to WHOOP.com and enter code McAfee to save 15%. You sleep better, you recover faster, and you train smarter with Whoop today. Here it is. You put it on your wrist.
I got
it. Diggs has one on right now.
It's awesome.
It gives you every single daily vital that you could possibly need about your body, and then it tells you everything you possibly could need to know if you want to better your body. If you want to get in shape, you want to sleep better, you want to train better, you want to learn about yourself a little bit more, this Whoop fitness wearable does all of that. Right now you save 15% when you go to whoop.com and use code McAfee at checkout. Hour 1 wrapping up here on this Thursday, September 24th. We'll take some more phone calls on the other side. Hour 2, we do not have a guest, so a lot of phone calls, a lot of conversation pieces. We'll talk about what Thirsty Thursday is. We're thirsty for football. Yeah. Probably gonna have to rename that because I'm not gonna do that every What? Some phone calls, some power rankings. We got a lot in hour 2 and in hour 3. We got Ian Rappaport, Darius Butler, and AJ Hawk. 1-888 Mad Dog 6. Tweet alongside us, hashtag Pat McAfee Show Live. Let's have an incredible Thursday. We know you could be listening to a lot of things, but did you know that Mr. Unlimited is favored to win MVP? We'll talk about that and a lot of other things. This is the Pat McAfee Show, hour 2 on the other side. Well, hello, sensual piano keys. You sound incredibly inspirational and motivational. Big announcement coming from our company. You know, throughout my entire life, I've made decisions that people have said, ooh, that is stupid. You've read about them, you heard about them. When I was in high school, I went to an underground poker game, won $1,400, flew myself down to Miami, won a kicking contest, and got a scholarship to West Virginia the next day. I turned my back on soccer that day. Everybody said, you're an idiot. Why are you doing that? You have more schools looking at you for soccer than you do for football. What are you thinking? Fast forward 8 years with the Indianapolis Colts, and I was on top of the world, top of the mountain. How's the view? Not too shabby. And when I was at the top of my game, I decided, you know what? I'm going to pursue some other stuff. My friends and I are going to go to work on the internet. We're going to try to chase fulfillment as opposed to just a paycheck. And there were some interesting responses from people of power in the sporting world.
Make them tear the uniform off of you. Sure. Look, somebody needs to stage an intervention. People who know this guy, get to him now. Make him put his helmet back on and get to camp.
Oh, no, there's no intervention, Wilbon. No, no, no. Here we are 3 years after that date, and it's a celebration, bitches. Cut the music. Let's hand out some bags to the boys. For the boys. For the boys. By the way, that's for you, brother.
Oh my God.
Are you home? All right, come up front door.
What's up, dude?
What is this?
What's this?
Oh, you son of a bitch.
What the fuck? Fuck you.
Oh, yeah. That is the bag of money.
FanDuel deal went through. There's $50,000 in it. Here's a backpack with $50,000 in it. $50,000 in it.
Oh my God.
Yes, there's $50,000 in there. Yes, there's $50,000 in there.
Are you fucking serious?
Let's go.
You rob a bank?
Oh, man.
Let's go, dude.
Let's go. I appreciate you, buddy.
Yo, this is...
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, dude. We did it. Couldn't have done it without you. Oh, thank you.
Dude, it's a fuck ton of money. You guys.
When I asked Dan Patrick for some advice, he told me always take care of the boys.
Well, and you should know those people that are there with you, that their value cannot be overstated and should not be overstated.
So, Mike Wilbon, they didn't hold my jersey on me. They didn't hold my helmet on me. We didn't have an intervention. What we have is a celebration. Because when you bet on yourself, sometimes you hit for big. And for us, the only place we'll bet for the next couple years in an exclusive deal, FanDuel backed the Brinks truck up to our office. And we have never been more thankful, more excited, and more together as we promote the greatest sports book on planet Earth.
Pat McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind.
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
While being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good day, beautiful people. Hour 2 kicks off immediately after this beautiful beat from the man named Twine drops. That's right, Thursday, September 24th. Not a bad show. Not a great show. I think we're just right there in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hour 2, we have no guests this hour. We will be taking a lot of phone calls and covering a lot of things happening in the sports world. Next hour, we have Ian Rappaport from the NFL Network, Darius Butler, and AJ Hawk. So we'll have packed to the gills in conversation in hour 3 with them. This hour, we'll take some phone calls. 1-888-MAD-DOG-6. Phone lines are currently full. Is that good? You can also tweet your questions, hashtag Pat McAfee Show Live, and we will answer them. Let's get to the phone lines right now. Colton in Canada. Ooh. Good day, sir.
How you doing, Pat?
Not too shabby, Colton. How are you?
Good. I'm a little salty that you guys took a shot at Canadians saying dumb things there like a week ago.
No.
But
thank you.
I still bought some merch and hit the subscribe button on YouTube there.
Thank you there, pal. That was not us, by the way. That was just people were saying these things.
Not us.
Not us. People were saying them. We were just reiterating them so people knew that other people were potentially saying something. And we have a office Canadian. So we thought he potentially needed to hear it a little bit. And he proved us. Not us, sorry. He proved those people very wrong, just like you. Ain't that right, Gumpy?
Very, 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 very wrong.
Oh, okay.
Easy, pal.
All right, Goodwill Hunting. All right, let's see. Now, you did not deserve that.
Now we're back to square one.
No, you did not.
Now we're right back to square one.
Gumpy, hey, pal, you didn't deserve that, and Colton, you didn't either. But what do you want to talk about, Colton?
The question is, if it ever becomes a lopsided record or statistical battle with Bill in the Tom situation, does he have a diabolical, passive-aggressive speech lined up like he did with the Cam Newton one?
Diabolical.
Something about Bill and Tom record being lopsided.
Statistics.
Yeah, diabolical.
I don't know.
Gumpy did not help your case.
No,
did not help your case.
That guy's slaughtering Canada's case, really.
Let's go to Tony in Texas. Let's go, Tony.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Real good.
Big T.
Oh, man, you guys are legends. I love you all.
No. Tony.
Thanks, guys. My question is, I'm a big vitamin guy, and I know you've had some experience with vitamins in the past. I was always wondering, what percentage of NFL players are using vitamins pregame, like in their pregame routine?
So, great question, Tone. You're a legend as well, pal. I don't know. I don't think there's a lot. I don't think you. Now, granted, in other sports, I think there are players that play high on a very regular basis. I think the NBA, I do believe every once in a while there'll be a shot or two of some of the players in the NBA where it does appear as if they are on cloud 40 or 50. But hey, they're getting buckets, and nobody cares. Yeah, they're dropping 40 or 50. Exactly. So, but in the NFL, I'm not 100% sure I know that answer. I know nobody that I potentially smoked vitamins with that was on the Colts, and I would assume about, I don't know, there's been different percentages that have been thrown out about the amount of guys that smoke in the league, and I think it all depends on what team you're on, to be honest, and what you know. For me, I know there was a lot of guys that I had a chance to partake in the vitamins with, but I think a lot of us, and I would assume this is, now there's stories of guys getting drunk before games and having to have some whiskey before going on the field and stuff like that. I have never encountered those people, so I don't know those people, and I think it's strictly because if you go out there and you do something bad that costs your team a game and you get fired and you don't have a job, your entire life you're going to have to look back and be on, well, I wonder if I didn't smoke before the game or if I didn't drink before you have to think about that. So I think that was always like my I was like, I don't want to jeopardize anything, so I'm not going to do that. And I would assume a lot of players feel that way. But there are some stories that come out that somebody's like, hey, I think no, I don't want to.
Josh Gordon.
Percy Harvin.
He did. Percy Harvin said it.
Yeah, I think there's been a couple of people that have done it, and hey, more power to them because they could do it. But I'm not 100%. Now, for practice in the off season, when I was trying to figure out a new ball or something like that, I was bombing them out there. But I just didn't think it was the right thing to do, just strictly. It's like whenever I used to go at West Virginia, I'd come to practice potentially a little bit hungover. Like, you have to have a good day. Because if you don't have a good day, they'll be like, oh, you drunk, you can't handle your blah, blah, blah. That's like Jordan, Game 6. You know what I mean? Like, you got to dial it in so people don't do that. Before games, I think for me, I viewed it as potentially regretful afterwards if anything was to go wrong, but some guys do it. I just don't personally know anybody that does. What up, Nick?
It wasn't before games, but a recent article came out about the NHL guys in the bubble. A couple unidentified players spoke, and they said edibles have become like all the rage for guys in the hotel room in the bubble.
Oh, in Canada, Paul.
Well, you can't smoke because you're locked in your hotel room. So unless you can somehow crack open a window, which I'm not 100% sure what the rules are in Canada, whether or not you can open a window or not in a hotel,
Not allowed.
and then you can get a paper towel thing and then put a linen thing at the end of it, and then you're just blowing through that out.
Spray it with Febreze.
I mean, that's the only way you can smoke in those hotels. It gets a little dicey. That's why the edibles are the travel companion for a lot of people. For instance, my trip to London, where I ended up with a plethora with no opportunities to throw them away or dump them anywhere. Let's go to Rick in Jersey. What's going on, Rick?
What's going on, Pat, boys? How's everybody doing today?
Not too shabby. And I would like to say that Mitt has been crushing it on the spelling of the name. Way to go, Mitt.
Man. I spelled it out for him, but Mitt's been crushing it lately. So good job, Mitt.
Well, not just today, really, but I understand what you're saying, Rick. What do you want to talk about, brother?
I'm unfortunately a New York Giants fan, man. So we just signed Devontae Freeman. Thoughts on if that'll be impactful, if it's going to take some time for that relationship to develop. Also, want to know your preferred method on edible consumption. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Great question, Rick. Little gummies are my thing. I'm cool with them. And I know some people like grand, like tasty things. Like there's these big, like, hey, we like to do this. I like to eat this with this. And I'm cool. I'm an A to B guy. Like, I'm just
Get me there.
Give me whatever you got to do. But you do have to read how much you are taking down, because some of those things are like the cricket in the Men in Black. They are small, but boy, they can pack a heater behind it. So always have your eyes on that. With the Giants, we talked about this in the first hour a little bit. I think this is a rebuild year for the Giants. And even if Saquon Barkley, who's one of the most electric players in the NFL today, was playing, I think that would still be considered the case. Now, they might rattle off 9-10 wins out of nowhere because the team is completely bought into the new culture that Joe Judge is trying to build. But in my eyes, I think this is a rebuild trying to build that culture. And I would assume they're going to bring in some more players that they think will fit into their culture by a la what Matt Patricia has tried to do in Denver, but now you're in New York, and it seems like the leaders of that team, Saquon, Danny Dimes, have bought in completely. And when that happens, that's good, because remember when Matt went to the Lions and tried to institute the Patriot way, he was met with a lot of resistance by the veterans, and they basically said he lost the locker room. There was a lot of drama just from the jump. I'm not saying Matt Stafford, but there was a lot of guys in that locker room that were against it. So now that you have your veterans buying into Joe Judge, allegedly, this is just what we were said on one Monday Night Football game by Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit. When you have that type of leadership buying in the locker room, it kind of helps expedite the entire process. So maybe they'll all buy in and win some games, and hey, we're trying to do that. But it feels like next year or the year after that is when the Giants fans can be pumped about life once again.
Well, let me ask you something, Pat. Do you think the buy-in to the culture will eventually help the execution and the implementation of just good football?
Well, I think whenever it's a great question, because if you have terrible schemes, who gives a fuck, right? Yeah, we bought in, Bub, but it went bankrupt. We bought in, and that thing crashed. That's exactly what happened. I guess that is potentially the case. But if you have everybody rowing the boat in the same direction, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If you have everybody rowing the boat in the same direction,
Jason Garrett,
you're probably going to get that. You're probably going to go no matter how they're paddling, at least in the right fashion. You just got to get people to buy into the why behind things. And if it's not a system that's just completely terrible, which there have been in the NFL, there have been systems that teams run that just don't work anymore. And that could be a failure process, and we'll find out. Jason Garrett's first time calling plays since 2012. That's my entire career, by the way, 8 years. He has not called plays in 8 years. That is a long, long time, and he has to do it with a mask on while talking. So who knows if his offensive system is one that'll win, but let's just hope I mean, you can't with the Giants anymore, I guess.
Nope.
Let's just hope that it is a system that will operate all three phases.
Garrett was trying to spin zone the Saquon being out, and he said the focal point is not so narrow now for defenses, so they don't have one thing to focus on.
That's awesome.
So that'll be good for their team.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, that's why you see, like, Bill Belichick, like, next game, he's going to bench Cam Newton.
Probably.
And he's going to be like, hey,
Hoyer,
who are you going to focus on now, pal? Who are you going to focus on now? That's a good call. He obviously, as a coach, you have to Mr. Brightside everything, you know what I mean? Which, by the way, the whites love it.
Devontae Freeman's kind of a genius too, right? Because if he does well, it's like, wow, Saquon Barkley couldn't even do well here. Look at Devontae Freeman. Where if he does bad, they'll be like, well, Saquon Barkley couldn't do well.
Hold on. One game, he did not rush well. And you are going to say Saquon Barkley couldn't do well here.
Yeah.
The guy's one of the best players in the NFL because he's done well there. Like
Half of the games in his 2020 season, he played like shit.
You're a fucking idiot. I can't.
Half of them.
I'll tell you what.
50%.
You remember before I got here, what are they averaging? 1 yard a carry. Who's that with? Saquon?
Yeah.
You remember that? What was that, all the way back week 1? You remember what they were doing? No, there's none of that happening in the real world. Maybe, hey, just like you and Foxy in the fairy tale land, maybe.
This isn't the real world.
Me into this.
2020's different.
2020's different.
All right, let's go to Josh in Philadelphia. What's going on, Josh? Philadelphia, what a place. What a place.
Yo, Pat, love your guys' stuff.
What do you want to talk about, brother?
I was just out punting around in a field, and I want to know, how do I get better? I want to know, like, your driving range tips for getting a little more distance on the ball.
Well, have you ever kicked anything before this particular time, or are you just a novice?
I played soccer in high school, more of a defender, so blow it out of bounds, but just kind of kicking it around. Everyone throws it around as a quarterback, but kind of a backyard punter, COVID-friendly activities.
I want to let you know that in Australia, they do that. They say, let's go have a kick.
Have a kick.
With the Aussie rules football. We had an Australian punter come into our training camp. He was a leg. I forget his name. I wish I do. But before practice one day, I'm just chilling or whatever, and he comes up to me and he's like, you want to have a kick? And I'm like, yeah, sure, but what do we? And he just stood like 10 yards away, and we just literally played catch, kicking the ball back and forth. And he was 7,000 times better than me. Just a 10-yard kick back and forth. I was missing him. He was like, I go. He's like, and then he would punt it back. He was so much better than me. And I was like, God, this guy, I don't know how he does it. And he was good. I could just kick it. I could bomb it. Far. I couldn't do the touch, but they do a lot of that. I hope kids start, just kicking the ball around in the backyard. Yeah. I like what you're doing over there, Josh. If I were you, Josh, drop it flat, point your toe, swing straight through it as hard as you can.
Is that the Vince Papale of punters? Just call it in.
Josh from Philly.
Yeah, is he about to be the punter for the Eagles next week?
Probably.
Hey, you should see his 40 time too, man. Yeah. I heard that's all a lie too, huh? That entire movie.
Wait, he wasn't playing football out in the streets and getting tackled into cars, like every day of the week.
No, maybe he was.
I don't think so.
Whoa, you guys.
So.
I mean, you guys are unbelievable.
Don't you guys be? I said right as if like I heard this from somebody else.
Yeah, probably these toxic guys.
Hey, Invincible, by the way, one of the better football movies.
Oh, very good.
Because it's
pretty good. Because it's about 95% Hollywood bullshit.
Oh,
he was invincible.
Let's go to Matt in Pennsylvania. What's going on, Matt?
Footage.
That might have been my first Disney movie.
Really?
Oh.
Hey, how's it going?
Invincible.
Is that Disney?
What's going on, Matt? Sorry, brother.
Hey, no, so big fan ever since the alleged incident.
Thank you.
Always kind of a cool idea of a ex-soccer player going in the NFL. But so Papa Megs came out with another YouTube video burying NFL kickers yesterday.
Megs?
He was having trouble finding a stadium. Now he lives in California, and he had this high school kid to let him into a stadium and was bombing 65-yard field goals. Do you think that kid was just trying to get some scouts on him, or get some attention on himself by letting him in that stadium, or what?
Let me tell you about me. Thank you for your call, Matt. Papa Meigs, friend of the show.
Oh yeah,
friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
Went to Michigan State.
He did a video, I think, like a week ago, where he got a Troy Polamalu jersey, and he put my face in the middle of it as I was scared. And I was like, "Hey, Meigs, Meigs, listen, don't bring back that PTSD moment for me, Papa Meigs." And he did. And he got clipped and sent to me a bunch, so I had to relive Troy Polamalu potentially ruining my life. And last year, Meigs did this because he's a high school kicker from Michigan who's down, and he made all the kicks kicks that were missed in week 1, and he made them all. He made them all. This year, though, with the way the NFL started, I thought there was a chance Papa Meeks gets signed to a fucking team.
Whoa.
I thought there was a chance at one point. I was like, Papa Meeks might make the NFL. Destroying, I think he's probably going to get it. With the way it was starting. Now, this last week, by the way, it was a bounce back week for the brand. It was game winners. There's a lot of kicks and things like that. But that first week, I thought the brand was collapsing completely. And I'm like, you know what? It's time for a new age, new generation. Get these internet kids on the field. But the guys have bounced back, and I'm not giving up hope on old Meigs or Destroying or anybody like that. But last year, I thought what he did was a little bit rude. This year, I'm like, hey, go and get it, Meigs.
Take your shot.
Go do what you got to do.
Is Meigs going to kick for the Jags tonight?
I know. Yeah, the Jags are out of kicker, right?
Yeah, Lambeau's on the IR.
Josh Lambeau misses his first kick in like forever down there for the Jacksonville Jaguars. A lot of Jacksonville Jaguars, Duval County. I'm surprised they didn't cut Josh Lambeau because he's very good at what he did. And that was kind of like their move this offseason. Like, listen, we're going to get rid of everybody who's good down here. Josh Lambeau was unbelievable, had a good run. Missed a couple kicks last week. Was very confused about what happened. He even kicked in a kickoff right at a guy that normally he's a very talented ball striker. So I was wondering what happened. He was hurt. That makes a lot of sense on why he was missing things.
Brandon Wright will be kicking tonight.
I don't know who that is. Get Taylor Russolino a job, though. Let's go to
Phillips, right?
Let's go to Andrew in Wisconsin. What's going on, Andrew?
Hey, guys. How's it going? Thanks for the call, Pat. Just wondering, how much do you think these pro athletes, especially football players, taking a beating on their body, how much do you think they spend a year on their bodies?
Great question. That TB12 treatment that came to my house, it definitely played into why I didn't continue to do it. It was very pricey. I mean, at that time, I'd already bought a professional wrestling ring late night when I was intoxicated. I'd already bought an aquatic vehicle who's good on land and sea. I'd already bought a house, two houses at that point when I probably shouldn't have bought houses. I mean, so I'd made a lot of poor purchases in a lot of people's eyes. Now, for me, they were a lot of fun.
Oh, good.
I got to see my money evaporate as opposed to just giving it to a financial advisor who would make it evaporate without me even enjoying it for at least a night or two with a lot of those things. So, but whenever I got that done, with the amount of pain it was, plus the price tag, I, for whatever reason, just couldn't do it in my head. But guys are spending diets. By the way, you got to remember diets, water. There's even like a certain water that some guys only put in their body if the pH level is above 9 or pH plus 9 or something like that. Every little thing you could, the food they're eating. Remember, J.R. Smith was pissed when he got into that hotel down in Orlando because there was just a bunch of candy all over. He's like, what's this? You guys are expecting us to be Ferraris and you just got us littered with this basic ass gas or basically. I forget what it was. And that's because there's some guys in all professional who buy in completely to their body. The food that goes in there is the highest of high quality, and you just start accounting for all that. Guys are spending a lot of money, but they're investing in their business, and their business is their body, and their body normally gets its ass kicked on a regular basis. What's up, Foxy?
Did you ever see a diet or something like that and go, that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life?
I started with the pH water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's when I started talking shit on people. And then when you do that, you open yourself up for like research. You know what I mean? From said person. So then as I started learning about it, I was like, oh, that sounds genius.
Oh, it is.
That sounds like that's what I should be doing. How much is a bottle of water? $9. Oh, okay, yeah. I'm going to go back to fucking Liquid Death or Dasani over here. I'm going to go do that. So there's a couple things where I've questioned. And then anytime you question something, by the way, if somebody's committed their whole life to it, they are going to let you know why they have committed their entire life to it. And it gets to the point where you're like, oh, I just expect you think this is going to make you better at football. I hope so, dude. I hope you get rich and I hope we win games. Dude.
Well, and that's why buying in is so important, right? Because you said when you were with the Colts, when like Peyton was there, like you guys were eating pizza and wings the night before games.
Not everybody.
Not everybody.
It was just available.
Right, exactly.
And I would assume Peyton, by the way, was not diving into those. Maybe. I'm not 100% sure. But it was available. Then, nutritionists got all those stats that got thrown in my face about the pH water and the food and this and that and what it does to your body and how much faster your reaction time, blah, 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 that shit. And all the good stuff just got taken out of there. And I'm like, what about my mental health?
Yeah.
Very important.
Trying to be happy.
Do you guys not care about the brain, the muscle up here that's kind of running the entire thing? Because that nacho cheese on fries the night before a game, I'd lose my mind. I'd have a good time. Like, well, even better though, we got cauliflower bread pizza.
Yes. That's the worst. I can't remember because we definitely talked about it.
But we don't have ranch dressing?
We definitely talked about it off air.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if you did it on air. The injuries in the NFL, and you talked about them being sports cars versus SUVs.
Yeah, like we got a bunch of flying around Ferraris, Lamborghinis out there because they're eating so healthy. I don't think there's even like your body fat percentage. Tyreek Hill's got like 1.5% or something.
Yep.
There is no bumper on the body at this point. There's such high caliber athletes.
Yeah.
You know, I got a little fat cushioning a lot of my thing.
Yeah.
So whenever one potentially thinks about like ripping, the fat's like, no, we're sticking together. You know what I mean? They're like the locker room guy. You know what I mean? The fat is the locker room guy.
The glue
of the muscles and things like that. And now you're seeing these guys just get hurt. I'm like, hey, maybe you need a little bit. Maybe we need a little
cushion.
Cushion. By the way, just because I said that, the amount of tweets that are going to come back about how bad the pizza is and how much better all this
they
is.
don't know.
They don't.
Carbon fiber breaks.
They do know, by the way, because
they aren't happy though.
Yeah, it's just I don't know.
Was Vinny doing the avocado ice cream and everything, or was he just doing the treatment?
No, it was the pliability in the whole thing. Vinatieri, I think ice cream was one of his like
Achilles heel.
I think that was one of his things. Yeah, I don't remember. He went to bed, so like he would.
Oh, he was an 8 o'clock guy?
Yeah, well, after the team meeting and you have a snack, he would hang out a little bit, but then he was gone. I was like, hey, guys, I don't want to go locked in my room all by myself.
What's going on?
What are we talking about? And then you run into a conversation with an admiral.
You get some coins.
Then you start talking about Ebola in the southern border and everything with an admiral who has Secret Service littered around the room. It's like, Judge, just me and you, huh, bub? I wish I had a camera here. This would be great content. Let's go to Trout in Florida. What's going on, Trout? Not to be confused with bass, which, by the way, is the more famous fish out of these two. But Trout is our guy. What's going on, pal?
What's up, dude? Big fan, Pat. Love you guys' energy.
We love you too, Trout. What part of Florida are you in?
Stewart, by like West Palm, northwest Palm.
West Palm, huh?
Oh, no.
Take it easy. Take it easy. A Florida man. What do you want to talk about, brother?
I'm kind of wondering how you think the Raiders and Patriots game is going to go. I got the over in a parlay, and that's the only one I'm a little unsure about. I'm not sure if it's going to be a shootout or it's going to be Josh Jacobs kind of running the clock the whole time. You know, what do you think?
They can't stop the run is what Rob Ninkovich literally just told us. And he is a guy who I think is a big fan of the Patriots and probably watches as a guy who is a part of the run-stop operation in the past. And he said he doesn't care what they do in the offense, basically. I asked him a question about Cam Newton playing his best, and he went out of his way to say, well, if they can't stop the run, they got no chance. That Raiders team runs the ball very, very well. The over-under right now is at 47.5 on FanDuel. For me, that's a lot of points. I just think that's a lot of points. I'm not 100% sure. I would go under as well, which I think this guy did. But there's a chance Darren Waller gets wide open and starts moving. There's a chance that Cam Newton does the exact same thing that he's starting to do, throwing, run all over the place. That's why it's gambling. I would not bet this personally, but I think there's a chance that the Raiders are on the ground a lot. And I would assume that the Patriots are probably going to be on the ground a lot as well.
Yep.
So the under feels like the right bet, Trout. I'm not 100% sure. This isn't something that I've spent a lot of knowledge on. You're listening to me think out loud. But I think Cam Newton is going to be ground and pound potentially against them. And I think the Raiders are going to run just strictly off of what Ninkovich just told me is that is a glaring weakness. John Gruden seems to be a good game planner, seems to be a good strategist on the offensive side of the ball. We got a heavyweight fight here between Gruden and Belichick. It won both teams surprising the hell out of everybody, I think. So I like the under personally, but I'm not going to bet it.
Everything you just said checks out in my brain.
There we go.
Our secondary played terrible too last game, and Russell Wilson will pick us apart. I just don't know if Derek Carr is on the Russell Wilson level of eliteness.
Last call here before we have to get to a break. Then we will, on the other side, we will break down the NFL power rankings from ESPN, where we will judge the judgers. Mr. Unlimited is now favored to win the MVP, and the Ravens, I believe, are favored to win it all.
To your point on that Patriots and New England game, Vegas is 7th most in the league in running percentage, and New England is 4th most in the league in running percentage.
So unless there's just big gaping holes where they're just a track meet potentially, like Aaron Jones was last week, I feel like the under is probably a safe bet. That 24 there would have to be what it is cover. That feels good.
Yeah.
That feels good. Like it's going to be under that. It just feels like it's going to be smaller than that. Last call here before we got to get to a break. Tyler in Indiana, what's going on, bub?
Hey, you hear him, Pat? Hey.
Yeah, you sound good. I'm sorry, bub. What's going on?
Oh, you're good. Hey, I just noticed the Jets have 12 ex-Colts players. Now, does that give them advantage? And is that normal?
Great question, Tyler. Apparently not. I mean, that's bad. In my head, I just try to rattle off a couple of them. They got Farley over there, Matthias Farley. I believe he's playing special teams for them. He's a stud out of Notre Dame. He was with the coach for a little bit. He was my PP gunner for a little bit. I don't know if he's playing on defense side of the ball. They have Goose, our guy Goose, is there. I did not know 12 former Colts are over there. That's wild. And not a great stat for the former Colts at the moment to be associated with anything going on over there. I would assume they introduce themselves as a former Colt whenever they go out places. Not that they can because of COVID, but you get what I'm saying. They show up on a Zoom as former Colt instead of New York Jet at the time. Unless they turn it around. Hey, the Jets are another team that could just turn it around.
Never know.
Turn it around.
I don't recognize a lot of those names. Though.
Pretty much every single part of the Jets is tough right now.
Yeah.
And every single day that passes, whenever you lose, just more and more shit just gets thrown onto the fire. And the biggest one that is a problem, I think, for the Jets and Gase is Mike Greenberg.
Yeah.
Because Mike Greenberg has a guy named Hembo who, whenever you try to pitch or sell why you're not as bad as you are, there's this super data genius at Get Up and that has been with Greenberg since Mike. It's like, okay, you're wrong, but can't just say that. Let's actually, let's pull all of the numbers that prove that. And then also, let's give it to Greenberg, two-time Hall of Famer, and he'll put it on ESPN. That's a tough go, tough out. But that's football, baby. That's what it is. 28 minutes after the hour, we'll be back on the other side. More phone calls, more sports talk. This is Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Sirius XM Channel 82.
He's saying don't go off the top, it's too shallow.
All you're going to hear this stadium do is they put the big paw up, they start shaking it, they go, whoa. Yeah, he loves the defensive side of the ball. He said yesterday to me that this is a blue-collar team. They win it on special teams. They have 5 block kicks this season. The defensive side of the ball, Lynch leads the Big 12 in sacks. But also on the offensive side, Denzel Mims is an absolute animal. He is a weapon. Charlie Brewer, the quarterback from Lake Travis. His dad was a quarterback in Texas. Yeah. His grandpa was a quarterback in Texas. And the people here in Waco just so happen to get a chance to see Charlie Brewer on a daily basis. Hey. Yeah, Boomer here is going to mean a little bit different than what it means on the internet currently. And hopefully here in Baylor, they hope they're not hearing a lot of Boomer sooner. Everybody wants to be a punter, including quarterbacks. If I was a quarterback, I'd want to be a punter as well. 0 yards on that punt. It's an embarrassing situation. The Dak dance that gets on national television has led to a lot of losses, but you got to respect the hips being able to
Good to go. Am I going to make college game day? Well, I want to make something creative. I want to make something fun. No, to hell with it. I don't like OU.
It's so thick. Look how thick that thing is. That's years and years of patience. Right now? Okay, let's do it. We are out here on the Brazos River, which you can take a boat to the game. One of the only stadiums in the country that you can do that. It's beautiful out here. A lot of people would say, this is the last time I'm going to be on game day. The last time I allegedly did what I'm about to do, I ended up in a jail cell. Let's go! Bad decision. The blue kickers are getting a lot higher than I thought.
You look like Ric Flair. That was a sellout, by the way. That was beautiful.
Do we have any other shirts? Yeah, hold on.
You need to go get changed before you get sick.
Great work, Rush. I'm actually not that cold. Hey, I went for it. My Chester.
It was like 5 feet. I was standing there.
That's full commitment, by the way. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here Thursday, September 24th. Woo! Whether it's back to school, back to sports, or back to work, Game Face wipes are an essential in this new normal. Their antibacterial Warrior wipes are FDA approved and kill 99.9% of germs and bacteria. Safe to use on your skin as well as surfaces and objects such as gym equipment, cell phones, door handles, and gas pumps. Oh, that's a big one. Oh, yeah. For a limited time only, they have a special offer just for listeners of this show and watchers of this show. Use code PAT for 50% off. Yes, that's 50% off your first order of Game Face wipes at GameFaceGrooming.com/Pat. Along with their antibacterial wipes, the wipe lineup includes 3 other awesome products: cleansing facial wipes, cooling facial wipes, and deodorizing body and Under Armour wipes, each with its own unique formula to keep you clean, cool, and refreshed all day or all game long, while never drying out your skin or leaving a sticky residue like the other stooges. All Game Face wipes are naturally formulated, 100% compostable, 2 times the size of an average wipe. Yes, size does matter, and made in the United States of America. Sorry, Canada. Use your cleaning wipes or antibacterial wipes every single day on your body, your Stairmaster, or anything you could possibly think of to clean. Again, for a limited time only, they have a special offer just for listeners of this show. Use code PAT for 50% off. Yes, 50% off your first order at GameFaceGrooming.com/Pat. That's code PAT for 50% off your wipe order at GameFaceGrooming.com/Pat. Pat, shout out to Game Face Grooming. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here. We started a poll earlier today about tonight's big-time Thursday night football matchup. It's Magic versus Mania. Woo! Ryan Fitzmagic takes on Gardner Minshew for the first time. Big night down in Duval County, Shad Khan's pool paradise. Dolphins travel to Jacksonville. Thursday night football. Your poll, Zito, was?
It was Fitzmagic versus Minshew Mania today. Who you got? Fitzmagic is down 25.3%. Minshew Mania is up all the way 74.7%.
So the way you said that, not 100% accurate.
What do you mean?
He's down like 50% at this point, actually. He's not down 25.
Oh, I was just saying the actual number.
Yeah, but the way you
emphasized.
Yeah, that's okay.
He's down 25 from 50.
Minshew Mania is at 74.7%. Everybody on the internet, after 15,000 votes roughly, is saying that Minshew Mania wins tonight. Is that because the Jacksonville Jaguars have surprised everybody? Is that because of what they did to the Indianapolis Colts the first game and then fighting against the Titans in the second game? They lost their kicker. That's a big deal. It's a short week. Will that help them or will that hurt them? Ryan Fitzpatrick is made for these types of moments on primetime TV on a short week. This office seems to be trending towards the Magic over the Mania. But boy, I don't want to have to come in here tomorrow and be like, well, damn it, we thought Minshew was the next Ryan Fitzmagic. This was the handing of the baton, the passing of the torch for the career, for the guy who has never been set up to succeed, but somehow succeeds every once in a while throughout his entire career. Gardner Minshew is potentially the next Ryan Fitzmagic, and we've never seen a Ryan Fitzmagic before. He's played on like 18 different teams, all in the same exact role. Our team isn't great, but we're not terrible. We're trying to rebuild and find something else, but we'll plug your ass in here for a couple of years. You'll get some wins, you'll get some losses, and then you'll move along being an incredibly good guy. Gardner Minshew is probably going to be that guy next, and tonight they battle. There's a same game parlay at FanDuel for Ryan Fitzmagic to pass for 271 yards. Mike Gesicki to score a tutter, and the Dolphins to cover plus 5.5. I like that. Max bet $50, and the odds on that is plus 620. I'm going to go ahead and hammer the shit out of that one. Plus 5.5 is obviously 2.5 more than what the game is at right now, but it feels like our office is starting to lean towards the Magic over the Mania, which is wild because Magic's magic, but Mania is an unstoppable force.
Yeah. Well, there's just a chance we find out tonight that the Jaguars are who we thought they were, and water finds its level.
And there's a chance that we find out tonight that the Jags are not who we thought they were, just like what they did. And I'm struggling with this Dolphins pick strictly because I watched every single snap of that Colts-Jaguars game. Every single one. I saw Phillip Rivers throw an interception to Joe Dirt. I saw them just make Gardner Minshew look like he's potentially the next Russell Wilson, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
I watched that happen with an Indianapolis Colts defense that somehow after 2 weeks is now the number one overall rated defense in the NFL. Gardner Minshew sliced and diced. And that defense gave Phillip Rivers fits, and that's just 2 weeks ago. Then they battle against the Tennessee Titans. This team makes no sense. You know nobody on the team. Miles Jack, how you doing? Keep it moving. Gardner Minshew, how you doing? Keep it moving. There is 51 other guys on that team that nobody has a clue who they are. And somehow Doug Marrone, who once quit his head coaching gig at Buffalo in lieu of greener pastures somewhere else, he thought. He has a team now buying in potentially. And maybe they aren't who we thought they were. But is that enough to beat Fitzmagic on this night? On this night? I'm just not sure.
Fitzmagic is Fitzmagic because he is doubted. And he is, the underdog in these type of primetime games. And if we know anything about Fitzmagic, the magic only grows stronger with age. So Minshew, even if he is the second coming, he still has a couple years, a couple teams to become anybody that could carry the torch from the Ryan Fitzmagic.
You're saying it's like a wine.
Yeah.
Whenever you're that type of quarterback, you only age like fine wine. You get smarter and smarter. You get better and better. I think they're both very intelligent quarterbacks who have the same maybe views on life. They're jousting verbally a little bit here pregame about the mustache and the beard, what's better, what's not better. But is the age and the wisdom a determining factor on whether or not the Dolphins will win +3 against the Jacksonville Jaguars? I guess that's what we're all wondering around here.
There's just too many people. 75% almost. Like, listen, I understand.
Hold on. Not only that, 90% of the money is being bet on the Jaguars tonight. Hey, a very wise gambler once said, when the world zigs, I zag.
That's right. That's right.
One of the best gamblers
the
we've
Jets
ever
last
seen.
week.
Billy Walters Jr.
And
I don't know. Go ahead.
I don't want to be contrarian.
And he lost.
Yeah.
He did lose. I mean, Gardner Minshew, look, we've said it many times on the show today. He might be the guy to get the baton next, okay? But he's just the flavor of the month right now. Fucking Fitzmagic, this guy's Baskin Robbins, baby. He's got all the fucking flavors.
Think about this, though. 90% of the money is on the Jags. And there's a guy in our office that says, hey, when the world's zigging, you got to zag in the sports gambling world. And that's why he hammered the Jets last week. It turns out everybody that zigged was accurate, and the zag turned out to be bankrupt. This seems like a game that this guy will absolutely love. Ain't that right, old Lou?
Yeah, but like the Jets thing was I zigged, everyone zagged, and then they zigged back with me. I should have re-zagged, and I got stuck. I should have re-zagged, and they wouldn't let me.
Old Louis zags, dude.
You can't re-zag. Once you zag, you zag. You got to zig if you want to go back to zag.
But that is the gambling world. Whenever you see everybody going one direction, it normally means that the other side's going to win because they aren't just, building those, what are those things that are in the middle of big open areas that come from the sky? Very expensive. They have lights around them.
Chandeliers.
Yeah, they're not just building those chandeliers at those casinos. You know what I mean? Like, those things aren't just getting mined from the casino owners themselves. They are purchasing those things. And there's a reason they have the money to build and have all those chandeliers is because when 90% of the money goes one way, there's a solid chance that the other side is probably going to win. Yep. And that is good news for us and Fitzmagic tonight, as 90% of the money is on the Jags -3.
And if you'd like to know your influence on the betting market,
there we go.
Since we have started the show and since you have kind of sprinkled here and there that you kind of like the magic over the Mania, it's dropped from 90% to 86%.
Whoa!
See, here we go.
By the way, on Saturday College Game Day, I brought out the hammer for Cincinnati, and I even picked them to be in my college football playoff Final Four. The line moved like 6 points or something immediately after that. And I started wondering, if you're looking around at the table and you're trying to figure out who the fish is and you can't see anybody, that means you're the fish.
Mm-hmm.
And if I start looking around at these lines and I'm wondering why Cincinnati's jumping so bad and I can't see why anybody else is doing it, you have to think to yourself, am I the reason why that just moved the way it did? By the way, Cincinnati covered even before and after that. What's up, Gumpy?
You're sharp.
Am I a sharp?
You're sharp.
Am I a
People
sharp
say-
now at this point?
People are saying.
My boost.
You are.
There's a lot of people coming after me on Twitter like, oh, your boosts are bankrupting me. It's like, well, just listen to every fucking thing else that I say. Okay?
And plus, the boosts are the ones that might not hit.
We're on a
That's why they're
heater.
boosted.
I am on a heater right now. In FanDuel is not enjoying it, I don't think.
No.
Every day, something's happening. Last night, I had the heat. Last night.
Can't you? I mean, Celtics stink.
And I didn't know that old Eero was going to go absolutely bonkers.
7 fucking points.
20-year-old kids out there, I am a bucket. Excuse me, there is a video of you on the court saying, I am a bucket. What did you mean by that? His answer should have been, did you just watch the fucking game? That's
37.
That's what that means.
You did say Tatum was going to have 0 in the first half.
Yeah,
so.
I did. I did predict old bad night for Tatum. I did not, by the way. What happened there? He got hot in the second
Yeah,
half.
he still had 28 points, so it really wasn't a bad night.
Yeah, well,
late.
see,
Bad
now,
half.
now you're thinking, now you're being a results-oriented person.
Yeah.
And the result that you should care about is an L as opposed to how many points he put up on whether or not he was good in the
Congrats
first
on those points. in the second
Hey, wait, hey,
Still
hey, way to
plenty
go.
of faith.
What a
Hey,
28.
good second half.
Lose by 3. Still plenty of faith left. Still got 3 games to go.
Hey, that Eero dude is hilariously awesome.
Yeah, he's
From
the truth.
Milwaukee, went to Kentucky. He's
lot of
20 years
youngsters.
old, just dominating out there. He looks so. I mean, he pulled up from the logo at one point on the side. It was just very comfortable. It looked like Jamal Murray, by the way, for the Nuggets, how he was playing last night. I mean, that's cool to watch. That is very cool to watch.
The Heat also have a who got second in the Rookie of the Year voting, and he hasn't played, I believe, in like.
Oh, yeah, that guy didn't make all-rookie team, Tyler Hero.
No.
That's why old Gundy or whoever was announcing last night said, at halftime, I would like them to come out with a jacket and name him to the all-rookie team.
Should.
He has been impressive. Let's go to Josh in Wisconsin. What's going on, Josh?
Hey, Pat. Hey, boys. How's it going?
Hey, not too bad over there.
Josh.
Yeah, my big question for today is not if, but when Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes face off in the Super Bowl. Are we going to call it the State Farm Bowl?
Oh, good question there. And thank you for asking that question because it leads us to this. And a man that went to Wisconsin at one point. The MVP conversation is becoming a real one. And we're only 2 weeks into the season. And we talked to Aaron Rodgers on Tuesday on Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays on this show. And basically he said, nobody has a clue what they are yet. Let's slow it down. The MVP conversation even happening right now is basically outrageous because the overwhelming consensus of the internet after Monday night's game was that Drew Brees was dead. Couldn't throw the ball anymore. He had a weak arm. So you have Aaron Rodgers on Tuesday and you say, hey, the internet says Drew Brees was dead. Is there anything into your arm getting tired or anything like that? And he's like, nobody even knows what team they are yet. So the fact that the MVP odds are already coming out and are such a massive focal point of conversation is strictly because there isn't a lot of storylines to talk about on Wednesdays and Thursdays whenever you do a show every single day. So I know that what we're about to do isn't necessarily what we should be doing with all the information we've been told by people that have been in these conversations. But since we run a daily sports show, we have to do this. Russell Wilson is now the favorite to win the MVP. He had a Sunday night performance against the Patriots that was mesmerizing. He was dropping the ball from the moon, which is how he describes his deep ball, by the way, because on the Dangerous Cast or something like that, or Danger Hawk Cast or something along those. He has a podcast now. Randy Moss was on the podcast, and he said that when Percy got hurt, they asked Randy when he was working at Fox if he would want to come play for the Seahawks. And Randy said he'd been working out, but he hadn't been training. His body wasn't ready. And Russell Wilson was just learning this news that Randy Moss was potentially a member of the Seattle Seahawks. And he said, oh, Randy, I would have thrown you a deep ball that came down from the moon. And I think we got a chance to witness what he is talking about on that DK Metcalf ball, where I think there's a couple people on the internet, like it seemed like it was underthrown. It was like, no, he's throwing a ball that I don't think anybody else is throwing right now, where there's no coverage that you could possibly have for it. He's bringing it down straight from the clouds, and he's trying to do that. That's what he literally said to Randy Moss in that interview. He's playing at a level that is just awesome. But I don't know how you can just automatically think, like, since he hasn't had it, he's never had an MVP vote, and now he's playing, which all Seattle Seahawks fans have been telling me is this is how he always plays. Is this the year he makes the big jump? I'm not 100% sure because there's other players balling. Lamar Jackson looks better than he was last year, and he won the MVP last year. Patrick Mahomes just got paid $500 million Last week, they obviously weren't great. They had some missteps or whatever. Let's assume that offense gets cooking yet again like it did last year. He's at plus 500. Aaron Rodgers, our guy, is playing the best football he's ever played, happier than he's ever been. Started worrying about himself in his mental space. His arm isn't hurt for the first time in like 10 years. He's at plus 1,100. So there's obviously 3 very high favorites after 2 weeks that Vegas thinks, okay, these 3 are probably set up for it, because plus 500 Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, plus 270 Russell Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers is playing his best football is at plus 1,100. Kyler Murray then's at plus 1,300. He's looked unbelievable, but nobody knows if that's going to last the entire season. He and Cliff Kingsbury are so new. I guess Vegas is like, we don't know if this is going to continue to work. Dak Prescott is at plus 1,500. I think it's because that cowboy hat he wore in the post-game press conference. Drew Brees is at plus 3,200. Josh Allen also at plus 3,200. And whenever we were talking about MVPs the other day, Bills Mafia sent me so many tweets about the disrespect for Josh Allen. Hey, you know what? I respect Josh Allen. You guys start going after Vegas. The people that say he's plus 3,200, he's below Drew Brees, who just a couple days ago, or he's tied with Drew Brees, who just a couple days ago, people thought he couldn't play football anymore. So Josh Allen, for whatever reason, is not getting enough credit, both in the Bills Mafia's eyes to be the MVP, and then Cam Newton's at plus 3,500. He's playing better than whenever he won the MVP. So it's very interesting. It's very early, but you can see who Vegas thinks is going to continue to have a great year, and it's Russell, Lamar, and Patty Mahomes, which makes a lot of sense. But Aaron Rodgers, the more and more we talk to him, it feels like he's almost unstoppable at this point. He's going to play his best football regardless, like a resurgence. And Kyler Murray, we don't know. Dak Prescott, I guess we don't know. So those 3 seem like a pretty good bet, but it's wild to me that they got Russell that far ahead, and then 4th is just such a far drop. It doesn't make much sense to me.
Well, fun fact for Russ also, when they play the Cowboys this week, their top 2 corners are already out, and their number 3 corner didn't practice yesterday or today, so potentially without their top 3 corners.
And I'm not 100% sure if Russell Wilson and the Seahawks and Pete Carroll are the type of team that get a big lead and don't just keep going.
No.
That feels like a team that can go if they have to. Schottenheimer over there with his second year with Russell has called good games. I think he's called. There's been a couple play calls you go like on that 3rd and 1, I think they threw or something like that, where Rob Ninkovich brought it up and you're like, what the hell is this about? But I think Shoddy and Russell Wilson are in a much closer together. They will continue to do their thing. And that defense, for whatever reason, always seems to be fits for people. I don't know if it's the scheme, if it's the same old thing. They figured out. But the Seahawks and Russell Wilson now at the top of the MVP conversation, that means that people think the Seahawks are obviously going to be a good football team and continue to be a good football team, which bodes well for the Patriots, who went toe-to-toe with them on Sunday night. But it is a very interesting time to be betting on the MVP candidate after week 2. But here we are. I think we hammer. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Obviously,
Russ. It's wasted money right now.
Yeah.
2 weeks from now, one of them might get an ingrown toenail that gets infected, that they're out for 5 weeks or whatever.
That year, Carson Wentz was supposed to win MVP. He got hurt like week 11, and then all of a sudden the whole thing's
Derek Carr, whenever he was potentially in the MVP conversation, I was at the game. It was Christmas Eve. Trent Cole tackles him, standard tackle. His knee just gets rid of it. The MVP thing, there has to be a lot to fall into place for that. But Russell Wilson, he's going to end up with a vote, at least one vote this particular
year. Because that is such a story. He's never got an MVP vote, all that. Do you think it is like this is the year where they're just going to give it to him if he plays the whole season and continues to do well?
Yeah, especially because humans vote on that.
Yeah.
So in that entire Sunday Night Football cast was basically like a shunning of the people that voted. Like, this guy has never got one. Yeah. You idiots, basically. And everybody knows who has the MVP votes and who doesn't have the MVP votes. So it does feel as if this is lining up for Russell Wilson, and Vegas is preparing for it. They're like, well, you're not going to get paid out as much, because we heard what Chris Collinsworth said on Sunday.
Yeah.
We heard them shaming the people that have MVP votes are not voting, and we're not going to take it. And on the flip side, the favorites in Vegas to win the Super Bowl at this particular time, and this was surprising to me, to be 100% honest with you, the Baltimore Ravens.
Whoa.
Baltimore Ravens are at plus 500. Kansas City Chiefs plus 550. The Saints still at plus 1,100. Seattle Seahawks plus 1,300. The Niners at plus 1,400. Cowboys plus 1,700. Tampa, Pittsburgh, and the Green Bay Packers round out the top 10 there. Very, very interesting that the Baltimore Ravens are that far ahead. They must be saying, hey, this team that was great last year is even better. They're not going to have the same playoff problem that they've had the last 2 years. The Tennessee Titans aren't just going to go into Baltimore and beat them in the first week that nobody could have expected. They got the MVP. They've learned their lesson, and they are going to go for it. In the AFC North, good luck. I know Big Ben's back, and they're talking about that team potentially being a contender for the AFC as well. I know Patty Mahomes and the Chiefs, although they had a bad game, they still squeaked out a win, which you're going to need throughout the year. We think the Ravens are the team to beat in the NFL. And I'm excited to find out if that's true or not.
They're also 3.5-point favorites against the Chiefs on Monday night.
So Vegas loves the Ravens.
Yeah.
Vegas sees the Ravens and they're like, okay, this offense is unbelievable. The defense is stingy. They're making big plays. In special teams, they're maybe the best in the league at this point. So that is quite a team over there. But until you to be the man, you got to beat the man.
Hell yeah.
And that Chiefs team, it feels like they can't lose.
Yeah.
They're down, and they just come back and win. It doesn't matter. And people are like, well, last year they lost to Colts and they lost to Texas. It's like, I hear what you're saying, but if you listen to Patrick Mahomes do an interview, he didn't understand what defenses in the NFL were until halfway through the season. And poof, very wild that from that point forward, they became an uncompete-withable team. Even if you're up 24 at one point, it doesn't matter. And the Chargers fell victim to that this past weekend.
Is that why they love the Ravens so much? Because they can run the ball and control the clock, and that's what the Colts did to beat the Chiefs last year?
Say what you just said again. There's some breaking news coming out of your team.
Really?
Yeah, Chargers officially dropped against Bob Kraft.
Oh, wow.
Hey. Look at that.
Never would have guessed.
It will be forever allegedly.
We have the shirt on literally today.
Get the allegedly
Billionaire
shirt out
just
then.
gets off.
I mean, that's what it is.
Oh, is that what you're saying?
Literally and figuratively. Billionaire just gets
No, that is a legend. That is a legend. So can you please stop?
We are a sports show. We have to cover breaking news in the sports world. Robert Kraft has gotten off on his case down there in Florida.
Defamation.
Anyways, what were you going to say?
It's always a happy ending for those guys.
See that Kraft team?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of conversation around there.
It's weird that he got out of a sticky situation like that.
Surprised they didn't milk that for all it was worth.
They did. I mean, this has been a long time. This has taken a long time here, hasn't it? What were you going to say?
You got any more? I mean, there's got to be one more.
We only got like 1 minute here.
Yeah. They like the Ravens so much because they can run the ball and control the clock, right? And that is how you beat the Chiefs. You're on the ball.
Yeah, keep them off the field. Best defense against the Chiefs is to keep them off the field. But I think they also like the Ravens because their defense has been very stingy.
Yeah.
I mean, Marcus Peters seems like he's playing at a better level than he has in a long time. What's going on?
And if you cut Earl Thomas, you're pretty damn confident about what your defense can do.
Yeah, it's wild. He still does not have a job.
Yeah. Dallas needs him bad. They better pick him up.
Let's go to Brett in Ohio. Brett, what's going on, bub?
Hey, Pat and the boys. How we doing?
Hey,
Keep it moving. I saw you at Bogarts. Can't wait for that to happen again. I live in a house with a bunch of guys. We got Daniel Jones and Mitch Trubisky arguments going all the time. I was just wondering which one you would start your team with.
Come on. Daniel.
Yeah, the guy
that can throw a football.
Daniel Dimes is who I'm starting with. What was that?
Well, Mitch already beat him there today, so.
Yeah, Mitch beat him.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Caleb in Wisconsin. What's going on, Caleb?
Not much, Pat. How are you and the boys?
Are you really befuddled at this?
Yeah, I am befuddled.
Why are you befuddled?
I don't know
Because
what
the Bears
befuddled
beat the
means.
Giants?
Yeah, Bears beat them. Bear done.
So you would pick Mitchell Trubisky over Danny Dimes to be the quarterback of the Bears for the next 10 years if you were forced to? If you're the Bears and you're forced to have one quarterback for the next 10 years, you're picking Mitchell Trubisky over Danny Dimes.
And Mitch we trust.
All right, what do you want to talk about, brother?
Dan Jones is on the Bears. They're going to the Super
Me and
Bowl.
the boys were watching Monday Night Football, and we had ourselves. We're all Packers fans up here, and we thought, would we rather have the Packers play in the NFC Championship right now or lose in the Super Bowl? Because we've had 3 NFC Championship losses, and it breaks my heart when I think about that.
So you'd rather them lose in the NFC Championship or lose in the Super Bowl? You'd rather them lose in the Super Bowl.
Without question.
What the hell?
Come on, dude. What the hell is that?
I hope he just didn't explain that right.
That seems like that might have came out wrong, but yeah, imagine that 2-week lead up to the Super Bowl. You get to dance. The Patriots.
The 2 weeks is the best. The AFC. I'm more nervous with the AFC Championship than the Super Bowl because if you win the AFC Championship, no matter what, you're talking about your team for the next 2 weeks.
You get to dance on everybody's grave.
Yeah,
too.
best team in the conference. Come on, it's awesome.
Even if you lose the Super Bowl, which I was a part of a team that did, and for the team, we didn't get to celebrate and dance on people's graves because we're in the Super Bowl. That's a fan's job to do. But as a fan, you want your team in the Super Bowl.
How about losing like the Falcons, though?
What's that?
How about losing like the Falcons?
Yeah, I mean, that sucks forever, but you're in the Super Bowl still.
When you're up 28-3, you're going to be having a great time. Super Bowl, baby. We're beating the piss out of these guys.
Or would you rather just not even have the expectation or the build-up to a potential heartbreaking loss in the Super Bowl?
no.
That is a good question, I guess.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Hour 2 wrapping up here Thursday, September 24th. Hour 3, we will have Ian Rappaport, NFL insider for NFL Network, and AJ Hawk. Go to the bathroom, take a poop, do what you got to do. We're back on the other side on SiriusXM Mad Dog.
Starting lineups brought to you by Sprite, an incredibly refreshing drink. Starting at forward was the number 2 overall pick in the 2016 NBA draft. Now he's an NBA All-Star, Brandon Ingram. At forward, this man has been dunking on little white kids on the internet for 10 years. The incomparable, unstoppable, 6'6" phenom, Zion Williamson. At center, standing at 8 feet tall, from Georgia Tech, number 22, Derek Favors. This man's family had a reality show in Lithuania. He was born and raised in LA, but he found his J in the N-O. Lonzo Ball. And the OG of the roster. On the court, he's a monster. Braids hanging, shots banging. It's not Drew, it's Drew Holiday. Let's get this done. Thank you very much. Go Pelicans. Basketball.
Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
Oh.
Oh.
Is this Jay?
Yeah. This is called Beatbox Lighter by Quan. Oh, welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here. McAfee and Hawk begins right meow. This is hour 3 on this Thursday, September 24th. Joining us now from Columbus, Ohio State legend, national champion, and Super Bowl champion, ladies and gentlemen, in Crimson Chin, AJ Hawk.
Yeah. What's up, guys? How you doing?
Hey, not too shabby. How are you doing, pal?
Oh, I'm doing great, pal. What's going on? How'd the first 2 hours go?
Oh, really good. Really good. A lot of phone calls, a lot of conversation. Tonight's the night where Magic meets Mania, AJ. Magic, Fitzmagic takes on Minshew Mania. Two of the exact same people, we think. One from the future, one from the old days. Who will win tonight? What is your thoughts on the game? And are you taking Magic or Mania? Jaguars at home or Dolphins +3 on the road? This feels like a game that Ryan Fitzmagic just absolutely dominates. But since I said that, and I think Minshew is damn near the same person, it also feels like a potential game where Minshew could go dongs out on everybody.
Well, first off, this is just the perfect Thursday night game. Dolphins, Jags. Like, you feel like every Thursday night game is some form of this kind of game. It's just
what does that mean?
Type of teams that play on Thursday nights.
Browns Bengals
Titans
is great.
Used to get a lot of play on Thursday night. They don't as much anymore. They've gotten a little better. But yeah, this is what it is.
Gotten
Dolphins.
better.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you're saying these teams are shit. Is that what you just said? This is
Not at all. That's not at all what I'm saying.
That
I'm saying it feels
is-
like a Thursday night game. There are professional athletes playing at the highest level. I'm not saying anything bad about these teams.
Well, the funny thing that you just said there is that they stink, but we're not in this, okay? If they both stink, then we got a good game going on. We don't need you pointing out all the negatives, but I do believe the teams that play on there and how good the game and the quality of games all revolves around when the television network deal is being negotiated or up or when somebody pays somebody. So with that being said, I will go back to my question for you. Do you have Magic or Mania tonight? This does not feel like a game that Fitzmagic potentially runs wild on you, brother, which would be Mania, which is what Minshew is. So it's a wild time. I don't know what to do. I'm kind of conflicted, to be honest with you.
I am. It's a fun matchup between these two quarterbacks, but tonight I am all in on Fitzmagic. They're underdogs. I feel like they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. Last week, their secondary kind of got exposed against the Buffalo Bills. You had free runners in the back end, which you never want to see. So I think maybe the Dolphins will realize, okay, we don't really like those one-on-one matchups as much. Maybe we mix in a little bit of zone. Maybe we try to pressure the quarterback a little bit and get Gardner kind of off the spot.
See, you just gave us real reasons on why we're right. Because whenever we got into the show, 90% of the money bet was on the Jacksonville Jaguars -3. 90%. And for some reason, our entire office this morning was like, this feels like a magical night tonight. This feels like it. And for whatever reason, we're kind of probably talking ourselves into it, just believing in the Fitzmagic, him bringing his entire family to Topgolf for the Super Bowl golf outing brought to you by Wrangler at the time when Tim Tebow stole the show, by Ty screaming Jesus and him saying, loves you, perfectly timed, and Ryan Fitzpatrick was a legend, and we were kind of leaning that way. But now that you're like, well, they'll probably drop in a little bit more zone, which will make their defense a little bit better. And maybe they'll give Minshew a little bit of a trouble, who's looked pretty damn good here early. That type of stuff makes this show better and makes the entire mood in our pockets feel a lot better on this side, AJ, so we appreciate that.
Yeah. Also, have you heard of their little tight end named Mike Gesicki? He was an absolute stud. And by little, I mean he is a big monster that had a huge game last week. Like, I think he will have a big night as well.
There's a same-game parlay at FanDuel right now. Ryan Fitzpatrick to pass for 271, Gesicki to score a touchdown, and the Dolphins to cover +5.5, which is 2.5 more than what the spread is right now. Max bet 50 for +620. AJ feels like that's giving away money. Hey, so do we over here. What's that, Dix?
Let me pile on to our pick here. The only playmaker on the Jaguars offense, DJ Chark, who had 1,000 yards last season, is out tonight. Just came out. Breaking news.
Let's not celebrate somebody being hurt, okay? Connor.
Sorry. Hey, the money's down. I hope he's healthy forever, but
what a scumbag.
Scumbag.
You're a scumbag.
Let's go, Fitz.
But I am pumped for this game, to be honest with you. And I know you led off with just burying Thursday Night Football in general. The Titans played on there, and then
shitty team.
They became good at football and stuff like that.
one of the best broadcasting crews ever to live, Joe and Troy. They're calling it, right? Aren't they doing all the Thursday nights?
You're just trying your best. Even mentioning Hall of Famer Joe Buck just turned our comment section on YouTube into a cesspool.
It's happening. It's happening.
You knew it. You did it on purpose.
No, I'm just a fan of Joe and Troy. I think they do a great job up there, and I enjoy their insight.
I would like it to be known, I am also a big fan of Joe and Troy. I think they're incredible at what they do, but for whatever reason, YouTube, because Joe Buck hates their team. You know, and Joe Buck calls every big moment, and at some point, I'd assume he said something that maybe is pointing out an obvious that your team doesn't look great in a particular setting, and everybody, Joe Buck hates the team. And that just comes with the territory. Learning his story, about his dad doing a thing, and then him doing a thing, and then him getting Hall of Fame, and him not getting choked up at all about that video, by the way, just being a consummate professional, like, I did not expect that. Second half kickoffs on the other side. That was mind-blowing to me. Maybe thought he was a little bit of a robot, but I like them as well. I can't wait for tonight. Let's talk about some odds that have been released. Russell Wilson, MVP candidate, number one, plus 250 or something like that at this point, when there's other people at plus 1,000. Do you feel Russell Wilson in the odds makers are plus 270? Everybody else is up near plus 1,100, plus 500, a couple of people. Do you think the NFL Vegas odds makers, the people that put the odds on this, heard Chris Collinsworth and Al Michaels shame all the MVP voters into never voting for him and thought, yep, this is probably the year that this guy's going to get it regardless if he deserves it? Not saying he doesn't, but I'm saying it feels like the odds are being stacked completely on Russell Wilson's side here.
Yeah, they are, but when you're betting that, you're betting on the MVP race this far out, who's going to take a plus 250 odds? Like, that's not good enough odds to bet something this far out, I feel. Why don't you drop down the list?
Whenever we brought these odds up in the first hour or second hour, we talked about how every human that knows anything about this particular race told us that it is incredibly ignorant to even think about what could potentially happen for the next 15 weeks or next 14 weeks for every one of these teams. But since we're a daily show, we have to talk about these things when they come out. I don't think anybody's betting plus 270.
No.
But that's them just saving their ass for all the shaming MVP votes that Chris Collinsworth and Al Michaels could have collected on Sunday night.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to make a bet right now for the MVP race, I'd take a long shot. Take like a Cam Newton. He was plus 3,500. Aaron's plus 1,100. Like, none of them are really long shots. But this far out, you truly don't know. Who on that list would you be scared to take a shot on right now?
Drew Brees.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. No, I'm not saying it.
He hit a linebacker in the chest on Monday night.
Say it.
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it. Let's get to the phones. Come on. Bro, Bills Mafia has been coming after us whenever we talk about MVP conversation and we don't have Josh Allen. Kyler Murray has a chance for the next four. If this is Kyler Murray, by the way, with what I've seen out of Kyler Murray the first 2 weeks, and I've watched both games because he is incredibly entertaining to watch with Nuke and Cliff Kingsbury. Like, Kyler Murray is a guy that I think at the end of the year, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, God damn, this guy is very good. But also, it could all potentially go to shit, too. I mean, nobody has a single clue on whether or not it'll happen. The thought of us knowing less than other people, is he on right now? Yeah, my guy. Our guy.
Well, the guy.
Being joined now by an insider for the NFL Network who has a lot of sources, breaks a lot of news, and dunks on Connor on a daily basis. Ladies and gentlemen, Ian Rappaport.
That boy! Yeah.
Oh, with the suit! Oh, did we just catch you right or in between TV hits right there? That's what we just did.
Yeah. I was off at a TV hit at about 2:06 Eastern. I was off at 2:09.
Oh, wow, man.
Logged right on here, and now I'm ready to roll.
Speaking of off, Robert Kraft got off on his charges. Anything you have heard about that? This is good news for the NFL.
I think it's good news for Robert Kraft, who has fought this at every single step along the way, and really has been adamant about, he was offered a deal. I know he was offered a deal. He declined it because he wanted to fight for what he believed was right in this situation. And the fact that he did get a dismissal, I would say, is probably, as I'm trying to move the camera, there you go. The fact that he did, in fact, get a dismissal is good news for him. As far as the NFL, I don't know that it makes a difference. The sort of public image damage has long been done for several years. Same with Robert Kraft. So whether or not he's officially charged with a crime or whether or not they go forward, I'm not sure it really matters very much, because whatever anyone wanted to accomplish as far as publicly for him or for the NFL or whatever, it's all already been done.
Oh, Ian, my first question here for you. Your world.
Second question.
After follow up there, and then AJ's got a great one for you. I know he's been cooking on it with that big ass brain of his over there. Your world involves injuries, charges potentially being dismissed for an owner that got caught up in a thing. Do you have the most dynamic, like when you tell people what you do, it's like I'm just an insider. Did you expect your Rolodex of information that you would have to talk about and answer in your life would be anywhere near what it is now?
I do think about that from time to time where it's like I could be dealing with, all right, like, hey, how's this guy's sprained ankle, to this guy's recovering from, drug suspension, to there's an armed robbery in Florida, to a possible solicitation charge from an owner, to coronavirus. Like, even like I was thinking about this off season, like there's no manual for how to report whether someone tested positive for COVID-19 or not. Like, we had a couple of situations this offseason. I ended up, I broke when Vaughn had his and then Zeke Elliott had his. And kind of the way we went about it was, all right, it has to be on the record from the agent, because otherwise it just wasn't right and feels weird. And so we had to navigate that as we went, because there's no training for how to report COVID-19 testing or whatever. Like, yes, my job is very weird and my life is weird, and it is probably like the widest ranging thing of all times, which is why I always get a kick out of when people are like, oh, like you watch sports for a living. And I'm like, yeah, like I really watched a ton of football last week when like 4 major injuries happened in the first 30 minutes and I spent the rest of the day on the phones.
Ian, what would you, I know you have a relationship with so many different people around the league. Is there like one team or one organization or even one coach or GM that like, hey, I've tried, I can't do it, I got to back off, I cannot contact this person, they do not want to give me anything?
Ooh, that is a good question.
Who's not a rat?
Yeah, who will never ever help me? Now there are people like there's plenty of coaches who will be like, hey man, like we're cool, we're fine, I'm never gonna tell you this. Like there are coaches who will be like guys who I like, who I've hung out with socially, who will say, I will never help you on an injury thing ever. And I say, cool, because then I just won't bother you with it. I'll bother you on other stuff. There's been coaches that have been tougher for me. Like I'm not sure Sean Payton will be tossing around scoops anytime soon. You know what I mean? Like he just doesn't seem to roll that way. It's fine. Like I respect him and his team. It's just that's just sort of not the way he rolls, I think. There's some others, but one of the things that I try to do in this world is if someone is not a source, if I know I'm not going to be getting information from there, then you just figure out a way to get it from somewhere else. And that's sort of how you spread the wings, or for lack of a better way of saying it.
What are some stories that you're potentially cooking on right now? Because like you said about Sunday, I mean, that was one of the most devastating health days the NFL has seen in a long time, the big-time stars. And then information continued to roll out as the week has gone here. Going into week 3 of the 2020 NFL season, what are some stories you think that potentially come from it? And is there anything you guys are kind of like trying to figure out or sit on currently?
Yeah, there are definitely things I'm working on. I will keep those under the old, whatever.
Oh, come on.
Keep it under the skirt.
Rap.
Ian, let's brainstorm.
Let's brainstorm. One time.
Right here.
Well, I mean, one of the things was we actually just got news on the field at MetLife. I mean, leading to all those injuries, and that field got cleared again by a bunch of literally every representation person you could ever imagine. Cleared that field, the Giants, the Jets, the NFLPA, the NFL. So that was one thing. I hate to say this, but like a lot of the fallout from those injuries is like what happens in fantasy. Who do I pick up? Who's going to start? Who's getting the carries? Like if people are gamblers, like what does that mean for my team, for the team I'm betting on? Like that's a lot of the stuff we do on Sundays. And there's some other things I got, kind of in the hopper that I'm working on that I'm like, all right, I don't think anyone will find out about this for 4 days, so I can kind of keep it low.
Oh, hey, let's do one of them. Yeah, hey, let's do one. Let's do one of those right here.
All right, no.
Dude, my.
One time.
You guys can't keep a secret.
No, you're right.
Not true.
You're 100% right.
I tell you, the real problem with you guys, for real, is like this has the feel of like one of those basement podcasts, like where people kind of just hang out in T-shirts and they kind of tell all and they curse a little bit. Except you got too many subscribers for it to actually be that, so you really screwed yourself.
It is large, yeah. We have learned quickly, and I have learned quickly, that if it is said, there is a good chance whoever you said it about is going to hear it. Yeah. So kind of watch it. But, hey, that's business, baby.
That's business, baby.
What do you got, AJ?
Yeah, Ian, so, okay, I'm putting myself back. Like, say I was a college kid and I want to break in. I want to be an insider. Like you've created an industry with what you do. What kind of advice would you give a young kid just graduating college that wants to be the next Ian Rappaport?
Yeah, I would say the most important thing is to focus on trying to tell people something they don't know. Like, that's, of all the things I ever try to do, of all the things, it is tell people something they don't know. Try to educate, try to report, try to give them something new. If they focus on, there's so many like hot takes now, and so many like look at me media opinions, and it's not my job. I also don't love it, except obviously from you guys who have great opinions, but everyone else sucks.
There we go. It did feel like you were
So-
talking about us potentially.
I would say that's the main thing, is like focus on telling people something they don't know. That's how we all doing this really weird job. It can be of actual service to people. And it used to be writing, and then it was blogging, and then it was Twitter, and now it's Twitter and TV, and it's all kind of the same. Just focus on educating,
Can you educate me on this? You've talked to a lot of coaches. You said Sean Payton's a guy that you won't talk to, but have the coaches complained mightily to Private or to you guys about this mask $100,000, $250,000 fine? And are the coaches genuinely pissed off about that, or are they like, yeah, we just got to get better, or we'll just pay the fines?
I think it's nobody likes the fine. I mean, those fines for coaches, I mean, that sucks.
Big.
Because it's literally, you show my competitor's tweet. That's cold, man.
Foxy! Hey, that's because. Hey,
what's up,
He
Give
literally.
me a Tom Pelissero tweet. Had it at the same time. Anyways.
Oh, that's Evan Fox, by the way. If you got any detrimental Detroit Lions news, you can handle him right now.
Ian, that's business, baby.
Gotcha.
Fired. Anyway, I think with the coaches, it's more of like, it's just the way of the world. Like, it's the same reason that famous people or players or coaches can't just do whatever they want because people might find out. If you're someone who loves to frequent a club, you probably can't do it in COVID because life is just not like that now. And I think the mask is the same way. Like, the coaches acknowledge they have to wear them, and everyone is watching them wear them. And they're both important, but I really feel like the symbol is America's watching these guys in the sideline. They should be wearing masks.
Yeah, we
honestly.
agree.
They really should.
It's optics. We all know that, but it's
okay.
But to win games, I think it's going to be. I think coaches are going to be like, I get it. We are an example, but I would just like to win a fucking game and talk to the guy if I could. Go ahead, Diggs.
Devontae Adams, Kenny Golladay, Julio Jones, George Kittle. You got any information on those guys playing this weekend or not?
Michael Thomas.
Okay, so Devontae, I think he has a chance, but not a great one. I mean, he could play. Like, if this was a playoff game, I think he could play. But it's week 3 or whatever, and it has the feel of them kind of holding him back. We'll see what happens. We're a couple days away. It has the feel of them holding him back. Julio, I'm never going to rule him out ever until it gets to, like, Sunday at, like, 12, 11:30 when the inactives are due. It is a real injury. Like, that is – the re-aggravation was not good. But he's one of the best receivers of all time. Like, if he can possibly get out there, he will. Michael Thomas, the time frame on his high ankle is 2 to 4. This would be the 2. So he probably should miss this game. I know originally missing 2 games was what they imagined. Like, could he fight his way on and limp around? Yes, he could. I don't think they'll allow him to do that. So I think that's one where my gut says Michael Thomas doesn't play, but we will see. And then what was the other one?
Kittle, Golladay.
George Kittle, Golladay.
Galladay's going to be good. He's back. I mean, he's barring a setback or whatever, he's probably going to be fine. Missed a couple weeks, but I think good. Kittle, my gut says he probably plays. He's got a bone bruise and he's got an MCL, which is, 2 fairly serious things in the same knee. but missed 2 weeks last year with the same injury, but a little worse. So this is not as bad. So my guess is Kittle plays this week.
All right, Nick
We'll
Mullins.
look back and see how I did.
Nick Mullins is going to be slinging it. Yeah, this is kind of like you being like one of us and guessing games. Like for him, let me guess these inside stories. So you got Devontae is doubtful, basically. Julio Jones, who knows? Michael Thomas, since we're at 2 of the 2 to 4 weeks, probably not. Galladay's all the way back, and you think Kittle plays because it's not as serious as it was last year. Is that a perfect rundown?
Yeah, there you go. You can see how my scoreboard did.
Oh, hey, now, Foxy might also check your scoreboard versus somebody else's just because he's a little bit of an asshole there.
Ian, I just wanted those secrets. So once you give us the secrets, I will only use your tweets.
That's him, though, by the way. That is Evan Foxy's job right there. So I'm sorry he did it.
I mean, that sounds like a very difficult job to get, and he does a terrible job.
It is tough.
Hey, Ian, what are you allowed to do? Well, I guess I doubt there's any legal ramifications, but okay, everyone knows back in the day, you used to say you were a lawyer, you used to go, if you're an ambulance chaser, you can go take care of the nurses and people in the ER, so you get these clients that they drive them to you in your law firm. For you as an insider, how do you somehow persuade these coaches and front offices and scouts to give you information first before your other competitors?
Yeah, not money, thank God, because I would probably end up going broke. A lot of it is, I mean, there's basically 2 different ways. There's like, all right, whenever I have info, you're my guy, I'll give it to you. You know, I get a bunch of those. Schefter's got a bunch of those. Like, when this person has news, you're the person I trust because we have a relationship and you're going to put it out fairly or whatever it is. Like, I'm going to go to you, and we have some of those. I would say that's probably like 30%. 70% is me hearing a rumor, tracking it down, seeing what's right, calling a bunch of people, and then when it's right, the people involved sometimes will be like, okay, this is going to happen, but if you report it now, it might not happen, so you will break it as soon as it's done. Like, that happens, you know, probably more times than not, where like you find out about something, you get in touch with the people who are involved, and they make sure you break it because you didn't screw them over by reporting it in the middle.
Well, I want to let you know, Ian, you've always done right by us. We appreciate you so much. I follow you. Foxy doesn't. We will change that for your next visit. You look amazing. Do great on television. We appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, insider for the NFL Network and a man who is looking to go 5 for 5 on predictions of players. Ladies and gentlemen, Ian Rappaport.
Yeah! Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Ian. All right, we have to get to a break here on this Thursday, September 24th. AJ, that is a real thing. I don't think you plan to become an insider. Does it just happen? I don't know. I don't know either.
It has to just happen. You have to be able to do all the other things. You have to be able to write. You have to be able to, hopefully get on TV, I'm sure, if that's one of your goals. But, yeah, you can't just, that's why I asked the question, like a 21-year-old, 22-year-old kid, how do you become an insider? I'm sure it takes years and years of building those relationships with all the sources.
Shams Charania is kind of coming up in the NBA insider game for The Athletic. But you could see, like, to get those relationships, it's going to take a while to earn their trust and everything. It's a tough game. Hey, it's not a young man's game. The insider game is not a young man's game. And it's not a world that we like to dive into, even though we have some stories. It's like, hey, there are piranhas out there. They will get you. Shout out to Ian Rappaport for joining us and Schefter for joining us yesterday. We're going to mend those fences at some point, even if Foxy's trying to really drive a wedge in between us and them. 2:25 here on the Eastern Daylight Time. Darius Butler will join us on the other side to give us his lock for quarterback pass yards for tonight's game so we can make some moolah. Plus some phone calls on the other side of that. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Thursday, September 24th. McAfee and Hawk.
I'd also potentially taken over their 30 edibles because I thought more teammates of mine were going to want to indulge in that either before the game or after the game. And to get to London, you go through your own TSA here. The team has TSA that you have to check in. Here's my passport. The Colts already have it. They took it all from everybody. It's literally you get your bags checked and then you're through. Put them in a little thing. We're good to go. It's team's TSA. Get on the bus, fly over there. I forgot all about them. Didn't utilize them at all because how things quickly changed.
Right.
After we lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars, we're on the team bus. They go, hey, we're going through Heathrow Airport through the real-life TSA. And at that moment, I look around. I go, oh, no. I have some things in my bag right now that have vitamins in them. I have to get rid of them. And at that point, I'd whittled it down to like 15 of them. And I look at Vinatieri, and I'm like, buddy, not good. He was like, what are you going to do? I was like, I guess I'm just going to throw them away in here. Couldn't do that because right next to the trash can was an English police officer. So I couldn't just walk up and dump a bunch of edibles into the thing next to the guy. He's going to ask questions. We're going to the Heathrow airport. Now I got to do what I got to do. We finally get there. Police escorts, a lot going on. So I just take down 13 edibles.
Ugh, yikes.
See you later. Vinatieri looks at me and goes, how you doing, bub? I was like, good now, but things are about to happen. He goes, I got you, little buddy. I'm like, thank you. So we go through the little check-in thing. And right before we get to the scan of the bags thing, it all hits me. I might as well have been on Cloud 45 over there in London. They check my bag, boom, boom, boom. I get selected. Something was in my bag. So now all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, did I leave a couple in there? Oh my God. Vinatieri starts walking ahead. He turns around, he's like, what's going on? I'm like, they got my bag, man. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, I have no idea. So he comes and stands with me. He's like, I got you, bub. I was like, they might got me, for real. I might be staying the night in England. They go through my bag. Turns out, had a vibrating toothbrush. Thing was vibrating in my bag.
Yep.
They're like, oh, it must have been this. Or it must have been my big-ass toothpaste because you can't fly with that. I was like, you got it, pal. I get all the way back to the plane. Lost my ticket somewhere. Somehow I don't have a ticket. So now I got to check into the gate people that I don't have a ticket. I'm like, I'm on this plane. I promise I am, but I don't have a ticket. They're like, what's your name? I'm like, Patrick McAfee. The McAfee? No, yeah, whatever you want to call me. I just need a ticket. So now I have to sit there and wait as somebody brings me a ticket from the front while my entire team walks by me, knowing that I'm on Cloud 50, just having a good time. Grigson walks by, just upset, obviously. I wish he would have known that I was in a mood where he should have talked to me there. It was just a nightmare. The London trip for me from beginning to end was not good, and I think that happens for a lot of NFL players. Welcome back to McAfee and Hawk here on this Thursday, September 24th. Darius Butler will be joining us here in seconds. I just want to let everybody know that The Times, which is based in London, and it says the best of our journalism, they have 1.4 million followers. I believe they are a big J journalism operation. Mm-hmm. They just released a study that said people with large thighs or wide hips are less likely to die early.
Wow.
So, rest in peace, Foxy.
I don't know if this is true.
Rest in peace, Foxy.
Sorry, how does that make any sense?
What do you mean, how does it make sense?
I think I'm living forever. That's what this thing just said. I'm around here forever. The Times, they're not a joke, by the way. This company right here is not a joke. They're based in London. Never heard of it?
How's that make any sense? I mean, hey, I'm not saying you, Pat, but I'm saying if you have larger thighs, that might mean you're a little more obese.
No.
You're not going to live as long. I'm not saying you.
Are you fat shaming? I didn't say stomach.
I'm just saying.
You scumbag.
You are a
scumbag.
It never ends with this guy.
Did you see what he did to Rappaport?
I had to dunk on him. He dunked on Connor. It's a good teammate.
You know what the good news is for all of us that you've been rude to? You have tiny little thighs and tiny little hips. And hey, you might be right. Yeah, what you're saying. I'm going to take what the study said. So maybe we won't have to deal with it as long as we would have to deal with him if he had a nice set of thighs that potentially look like he walks somewhere in his life.
He acts like insiders just grow on trees and we can just get whoever on the.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. Anyways, congrats to me and to AJ. We're living forever. Zito, shout out to you as well.
Thank you.
Joining us now is a man who I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't know if he has childbearing hips or not. I have no idea. All I know is he's one of the smoothest athletes I've ever seen in my entire life. Host of the Man to Man Pod. A man who's in the NFL for a long time. Big old brain. He's going to give us a lock for an over-under on pass yardage on tonight's game of Magic vs. Mania. Ladies and gentlemen, Darius Butler.
Hey, I don't know.
I'm looking a little grainy there. Am I clear? Are you there?
Yeah, you look good on this side. Know that.
All right.
On your side, it might be bad. That's because you got like 3 kids currently in Zoom classes going on
Yeah,
throughout the
man,
day.
it's brutal. They're actually done now. I got my middle schooler. She's still in class, but it's brutal, man.
Hey.
I gotta be Zito over here. I'm not an IT guy at all.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think a lot of families are currently battling through what you're going through, and I think teachers might be getting a lot more respect than they've ever been given, but also I think internet is at a point where a lot of houses are kind of stressed out. Yeah. But we appreciate you joining us, Darius.
Sure.
Tonight there's a big matchup. It is the Magic versus the Mania. Woo! It is the Fitz Magic, and it is the man who potentially is going to have the same exact career path as Ryan Fitzpatrick in Gardner Minshew Mania. You've got a chance. Oh, you don't think so?
I don't know. I wouldn't say. I don't like that comparison.
Whoa!
I don't want to give him that career path. I mean, I think he's a solid young quarterback, man. Fitzpatrick had a good career. Obviously, bounced around a lot, and I feel like it always got to some point where Fitzmagic came out and he made believers out of the front office, made believers out of his teammate, got paid again somehow, gets a start. But I don't want to put that. I don't want to put that on Minshew yet.
Oh, well, it seems like he is in the exact same position that Fitzpatrick has been in a lot of times where the team isn't really trying to win, it feels like. He's just a stopgap quarterback. And Gardner Minshew has been able to win some games here with this team, just like Fitzpatrick has been able to do in the past. But tonight, we are not here to talk about our thoughts. We're not here to talk about AJ's thoughts. We're here to talk about your thoughts on who will pass over and under a certain amount of yards so we can lock that thing up because your big brain has studied the film.
Let's go. We're going to go with Minshew, man. Minshew Mania.
Over?
Remember the over. Over. He's going over. He's going over, man. They're doing a good job on offense. Making defenses stay balanced, respecting the run. They've been running the ball well, but the Dolphins are last in the league defending the pass. Byron Jones is out, so you'll have a rookie stepping up, taking a lot more snaps in his place. And Minshew, I mean, those guys could be 2-0 right now. You know, they went against, they went toe-to-toe with a tough Tennessee team in the defense last week. And he's making the right throw. I think he was like 10 for 14 on third down. That's something you always look at as a quarterback as far as how to keep moving it. So I'm going with them, man. And their kicker's out, too, so they may go for it on more fourth down. So, we got some more four-down territory plays in action. So, looking forward to it.
So, just so everybody is listening, he picked Minshew over 264.5 yards on tonight's game. You can currently get that at -110. Normally, when you're saying that type of thing, you also believe that they're going to win the game then, too, huh?
I do. I do have some concerns, though. No. Chalk is out. He's been ruled out, I believe. Lambeau is also out, their kicker. We all know how important kickers are. So you have a rookie kicker in there for them on prime time, and we know how the kicking game has been so far. So I'm picking the Jags. I'm still going with them.
Hey, D-Bud, I got a question on what the Dolphins secondary could possibly do to help protect these guys a little bit. Last week I mentioned early in the show, there's some free runners down the field against the Buffalo Bills, which you don't see that happen a whole lot in the NFL. You want to see a coach go crazy, let a free runner go, let alone have multiple like they did. What can they do, I guess, schematically to help these guys out?
They play a lot of man, and especially on third down situations, the guys just got to do a good job beating traffic. I think Tennessee playing against Jacksonville actually last week, they did a good job navigating those picks, getting around. That's how you avoid those free runners. Guys just been on the same pre-snap, been on the same page pre-snap. So that's what Flores got to have his guys doing, man, just communicating, been on the same page. It's not really about the calls. It's really about, it always comes down to execution, man. So, and like I said, we're going to be missing a guy like Byron Jones. I don't think Minshew is Josh Allen by any stretch, but right now at least. But they got to tighten up, and I think they will. But I still like Minshew.
Hold on. Just so Josh Allen better than Minshew better than Ryan Fitzpatrick?
Sure. Absolutely. That's the ranking. Josh Allen, Minshew, Fitzpatrick.
D-Bud. You're just slaughtering our office right
Who knows where Tua is? We need to see Tua get out there, man. That's what I'm looking for.
I don't know is the short week on the defensive side of the ball as much of a big deal as it is on the offensive side of the ball? Because on the offense, on these Thursday night games, everybody's like, they're basically going to run whatever they already have in. They're not like they're going to be game planning super crazy. Is the defensive side of the ball the same exact thing? Could being a simpler defense be good for the Dolphins who struggled last week against the Bills?
I mean, It's a short week, but it's so early in the season. You're still trying to figure out what you're even good at. You know, what kind of calls you like in what situations. So the short week, I mean, you just get out there and play, especially coming off a loss. It's good to get out there sooner and play, and then you know you have that long weekend ahead. But I think it'll be good for the defense. They'll be out there, just get out there and play. It's not going to affect them too much when it comes to game planning. But they're still trying to figure it out, man. We're early in the season. These guys still trying to figure out who's good, doing what against who. They won't see Cam. They won't see Josh Allen. Now they'll have a guy who's going to be in the pocket, so maybe it'll be a better situation for them.
You mentioned Tua. When do you think, if any time this season, when do you think they throw him in? And shouldn't they do it soon?
I mean, I think if you were in that locker room, I would want to see him out there, honestly. Like you said, like Pat said, you know, you kind of just see Fitzpatrick, especially at this point in his career, as a stopgap. So if we have the future potentially in our locker room already, we've seen what he's done the last few years in the SEC. So if he's healthy, I think after that, you know how we break the season up in like 4 quarters pretty much. I think after that first 4 games, if they go in there, you know, 1-3 or 0-4, you know, a lot of people, the fan base, the locker room, probably ownership, the front office is going to want to see Tua out there if he's healthy, obviously.
In the secondary, when you see a rookie quarterback, you know you can disguise shit and everything, and he's not going to learn that unless it comes through experience. Like, for instance, Air Bear gets dropped into the game moments beforehand because a doctor punctures Tyrod Taylor's lung,
wow.
and I thought that potentially helped Air Bear's state of mind. Like, without having to think about it all week, he just got dropped in there. Hey, you just kind of go in there. If you're in the secondary and you know that a rookie quarterback's going to be there, what are some things that you do to kind of fuck with their life?
You want to mess them up post snap as much as possible because they're kind of programmed, and you know the offensive coordinator can talk to them, or whoever the play caller is can talk to them about 15 seconds up to that snap, and they're trying to help them out as much as possible. Whether it's getting the protections on point, I see a single high, okay, check this alert. So if the later that you can hold disguises and move kind of post snap once the ball is in his hands and then drop it back, and that quarterback has to be on the same page as receivers, the better you can do. And that's when you can take advantage of young and rookie quarterbacks who just haven't seen a ton of looks. They just haven't seen a bunch of looks. They haven't seen different disguises versus different. You run the same coverages, but just different blitzes, or 2 guys just switch assignments. So you can fool young quarterbacks like that.
Well, you also have to, if you're the offensive coordinator, you have to get out of the huddle. If you think how much of it would help a young guy out. If you can speak till there's 15 seconds left in the play clock, if you break the huddle at 27 seconds or somehow, if you can somehow do that and have the quarterback can be at the line for 12 seconds listening to his coach tell him, like, hey, this is what they're showing right now.
Exactly, man. So it's going to come up. And a lot of these guys are coming from, especially when they're younger, they play better in the no huddle situation. You saw Brewer do a lot because that's what a lot of these guys are running on the college level, and it's just you're just playing, you're just reacting. And as a defense, when you're no huddle, when guys are getting out of the huddle, like AJ said, get to the line of scrimmage, you kind of have to simplify your calls. You can't run a bunch of exotic things. You have, because we all have to be on the same page first and foremost. So the more you keep that tempo, or just switch the tempo up, you can definitely help out younger quarterbacks like that.
Darius, there's a report that Jalen Ramsey was studying the techniques of opponents' cornerbacks to help his own receivers. Is that a common thing that cornerbacks do, or is Jalen Ramsey just like a whole different animal?
Or was that completely overblown?
No, I think that's a great job by him, being a great teammate. I think a lot of guys do it for sure, especially like veteran guys. Once they're kind of comfortable in their role, they're comfortable in their selves, they feel like they have their situation under control. Now I can get to the point where I can go and say, hey, you know, this is what he likes to do, or I played with this guy here, or I know this coordinator, I know how they coach up certain techniques, so this is how you guys can attack that. Guys do that every week. Even I'm sure that happens on special teams. You know, special teams guys, because guys bounce around. We move around so much. Same coaches, same techniques, same schemes. So a lot of guys do that, but definitely hats off to Jalen for that.
Deba, there are several marquee receivers who are doubtful to play this weekend. As a D-back, or from like a coaching perspective too, when you see like a guy like Devontae Adams or Michael Thomas or Julio Jones isn't playing, how much does that affect the game plan going into the game?
Oh, that changes everything. That changes absolutely everything, because those are guys that change the math. You have to account for those guys with at least 2 guys. So that goes into coverages, the third down plan. Short yardage, what calls can we play in short? If it's a 3rd and 1, can I just leave my corner out there one-on-one with Devontae Adams, or do I want to give up this 47-yard bomb with a one-on-one? So that affects everything. We have a dynamic receiver on the level of like a Devontae Adams. That changed everything for the coordinator and for the DBs because some guys, if you're expecting that one-on-one matchup, say I'm following Devontae and now he's not playing. Now I'm going to probably be doing something different that I may have been practicing all week. So it could be positive or negative, but I would, as a defensive coordinator, defensive player, I would much rather have Devontae Adams on the sideline in a sweatsuit.
Are you so let me get this straight before we end this conversation because you have been quite a damper on the mood. Which is I thought for sure tonight was going to bode well for Fitzmagic. You're saying tonight actually going to be a good night for Gardner Minshew and the Jacksonville Jaguars at home -3. I know you don't do the spreads, but -3 tonight at home. You think Gardner Minshew is going to light it up, huh?
I think he's going to light it up, man. I think that team is confident, man. That team is confident, and nobody. When nobody expects you to be anything, nobody expects you to win any games. Kind of like we came into that Luck's rookie year, 32nd in the power rankings, tanking for. So that can kind of rally guys up, and I feel like Gardner's that type of player, that type of leader that guys will follow, and he's got a young group around him, and I think he could be the face of that franchise for years to come.
Okay, all right, maybe.
This magic.
Maybe, ladies and gentlemen, a man who has a big brain that has been quite a damper here, a stud and host of the Man to Man podcast, which I would recommend listening to. It's awesome, ladies and gentlemen. Darius Butler.
Yeah. Go Heat.
Tyler Hero, by the way, just a legend, D-Butt. That was disheartening to hear that. Yeah. I thought he was going to be all over the Fitzmagic train.
He's been so hot. I mean, he's got to get cold at some point. Right? Might as well start with the Magic. No, Darius.
Oh, you're talking about Darius, yeah. AJ, he didn't even think about saying they're going to drop in the zone like you referenced. He said hey, B-Flow's defense is man-to-man D. Is that something that happens? Do teams switch from man-to-man to zone, or is it hey, this is our team, this is what we are?
Well, yeah, I mean, every team has kind of like their staple of what they can do, but you have to adjust on the fly as you have your star corner go out. You have different guys coming in and out of the lineup, and you got to see how you're getting exposed. And if I didn't feel good about my one-on-one matchups on the outside, you're not going to completely overhaul your defense, but in earlier situations when it's not in third down, I'd be like, hey, we don't need to have some zone blitzes here. We might need to call some cover 3. I don't know if they're a Tampa 2 team. I know Flores. Coming from from New England, they love to match up, but everyone kind of matches up on third and short, third and medium, I would say for sure. But I don't know. I would just want to protect those guys from those free runners.
I mean, that's just thanks. I was riding high. Every single human I've talked to today, including you, is like, hey, Fitzmagic is going. Baby. And then a man that is on a heater right now. He is on a hot streak. Yeah. He's like, no, go in the complete opposite direction. I'm pumped to watch the game. By the way, this was a game that AJ Hawk made fun of early, but now I am pumped about it. Let's see what the crowd is saying. Zito, what is the poll that you've been running at Viva La Zito?
With over 17,000 votes, no big deal.
Hey, no big deal.
No big deal. Fitzmagic versus Minshew Mania tonight. Who do you got? Fitzmagic has 25.6%. Minshew Mania has 74.4%.
Not great, AJ. Let's get to the phones here to hear what they're thinking. Let's go to Nick in Minnesota. What's going on, Nick?
Not much. How's it going?
Not too shabby. How are you?
Good. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to my brother, Tim Messenger. He plays Division II football in Ohio. But my question is, do you think the Minnesota Vikings can do what the Giants?
They're not playing. Division II is not playing football, so he's not playing football right now in Ohio.
Well, I mean, he's going there. Sorry about that.
Congratulations.
Let's go.
Hey, Tim. Proud of you, Tim. I don't know if they're ever going to come back.
No.
Is D2 football going to be able to survive?
Yeah, I might be dead.
I hope
he's got a 3.9, so he's trying to transfer out to Division I maybe. But.
He ran a 4.3.
I mean, Division football program.
You cannot say that.
And Division III football
Sorry, Nick.
program.
Congrats to Tim. We're proud of him. Hold on, no, Nick. I would like to make sure this doesn't become like a hey, congratulations story call time though, because like Tim deserves it. Obviously, big time football. This is
definitely
good. But I don't want to set the precedent that we would like everybody to congratulate every human that they potentially know who accomplished something on a phone call if they get on the show. You know what I mean? But congrats to Tim. We're pumped for him. Good for Tim.
Well, thank you. But my question is
because if that continues to happen, everybody is accomplishing something at some point in their life that they know somebody that they could congratulate.
A lot of people going to school right now.
And I would, not a lot of people go to school actually. And that's what I'm talking about. We congratulate the guy who's not playing football this particular fall because of COVID. And if he doesn't play football in the future, did we just waste a congratulations on somebody that isn't happening? And are we breaking Tim's heart because now a bigger show is recognizing that he's not actually playing football? That is why we can't set the precedent. But congrats to Tim. We are pumped for him playing D2 football.
Shout out to
over there in Ohio.
Let's go, Tim.
What do you want to talk about, man?
Do you think the Vikings can go from 0-2 and do what the Giants did in 2007 and then get back to that get to the Super Bowl? Sorry.
I picked the Vikings yesterday to be the 0-2 team. That is going to be great. Ty says a hard no because Aaron Rodgers is playing football at a different level. Shout out to Tim, maybe playing football at another level.
Tim.
But AJ, what do you think there? You think the Vikings are going to be able to get it back together? They stunk early last year. They had teams falling apart. Yeah. But they have a different team this year, a different outcome. Who knows? I think they're going to be able to turn it around personally. I'm not 100% sure if they become the Giants and go on a run like that, but I think they will play much better football than they have played in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to be better than they have. Kirk Cousins has to be better than he has through the first 2 games. I know Anthony Barr going down at the linebacker position is not a great thing for this defense, but yeah, they're going to turn around. I just don't know how much. What is that? Like, does that mean they go 8-8? Would people be happy with that?
Yeah, no,
probably not.
Definitely not.
No, they want to play. Yeah, they would not be happy with that, AJ. You knew that. What are you even? What are you
I'm
doing?
just asking a question.
AJ,
like, I don't. It's all about managing expectations. What have the expectations for the Vikings changed drastically through the first 2 weeks? Because before the season, everyone's like, yeah, they're set up. This is great. You know, NFC North is a powerhouse. Here we go. They're going to challenge the Packers and everything. And now they start out 0-2. Did everyone's expectations instantly drop?
Yeah, Kirk. Yeah, Kirk. I don't know. I mean, this is why it's so hard to have a daily show about football, because a team could look the complete opposite 1 week from now.
Yeah.
And then the week following, they're the complete opposite again. They're back. They're back to being good. It just, you have no idea what's going to happen. And that's what Aaron Rodgers was saying. Hey, guys, why don't you relax a little bit? Okay, we don't even know what we are yet. Which I should have followed up with him. Like, well, does that mean you guys could stink then because you're playing good right now? Because if you're saying a team that's bad could be good, then you must also be saying that a team that's good could be bad in a few weeks. Let alone who knows what the injuries are going to come to any of these teams. But hey, that's Daily Show, baby. We just got to ride the wave. Got to ride the wave. Let's go to Jordan in Indiana. What's going on, Jordan?
Oh no! Cat's got his tongue.
Hey, Guzzy.
What's going on, dude? Great to hear from you.
What's going on, boys?
Is Jordan a truck?
I'm sorry about that, man. I had you on the Raycons, man. I freaking had you muted. I didn't want you here. I didn't want you hearing my freaking boss bitching at me for being on the phone.
Yeah, smart, Jordan, smart. We appreciate you. That's what the E25 everyday earbuds are all about, too. Wear them so your boss doesn't bitch at you for being on the phone. What do you want to talk about, brother?
Hey, I heard this stat just the other day. 3 of the 32 kickers in the NFL have come from Georgia State. Is Georgia State the next school for the brand?
Kicker University. I did not know that stat. Very impressive. Good for them. Tyler Bass, I believe, the kicker up there in Buffalo, who has been an absolute stud. I believe he's from Georgia State. Where's that Jack Fox dude from? I don't know where he is, but he's dominating right now up there for the Detroit Lions. I have no idea who he is. There's a lot of young kickers and punters kind of taking over. There's also a lot of young kickers and punters stinking right now. So just like the teams, can't judge anybody until about week 4 or 5.
That's right.
Exactly. Who will survive? Who will have a job? AJ, Cam Newton, John Gruden described him as a power forward. He says he calls him Slam Newton, which, by the way, classic Gruden. We miss him on Monday Night Football for sure. That is going to be a matchup that I think I am very, very excited for. Patriots, Raiders, John Gruden, Bill Belichick. Who gets the best of who? I think it's going to be a lot of the run game, and I think the under is at 40. Over-under is at 47.5. Feels like the under is the right bet there, but do you like the way John Gruden described Cam Newton there, Slam Newton?
I guess, what exactly does that mean, calling him Slam Newton?
And he said he's playing like a power forward, playing quarterback. He's in there just banging, you know what I mean? Power forward now in the NBA is a potential point guard, too. He can be a point forward, which is kind of what Cam Newton is. Yeah. Just that he's a powerful, big guy who can cause problems at the line if he has to.
Dunk, too.
And dunk.
Yeah, he creates tons of issues for you. And I think in that offense with New England, what they're doing, how they're doing some zone read stuff, it's a scary thing to try to think about stopping that dude. I remember playing against Cam Newton when he was a rookie, I believe. And is he still with Under Armour?
Bless you.
I don't know if he still is.
Bless you.
Yeah, he's still with Under Armour.
Yeah.
He had remember those super high top Under Armour cleats that they had for a little while?
Yeah.
They looked like they went all the way up to his knees, and the guy was about 8 feet tall and weighed 245 pounds probably, and absolutely shredded. And I'm like, oh, this is the quarterback. Oh, okay. This is hopefully there's not a whole lot of guys like this coming up in the college ranks that we're going to face week in and week out, because he is an absolute freak. And I think with all the reps he has under his belt, and now the tutelage of McDaniels and Belichick, yeah, I think they're set up for a lot of success. And I think they find a way to get it done against the Raiders too.
Vinatieri and I had this conversation the first time. He was a rookie and he was warming up, and we're on the sideline. And normally you watch your team warm up and then you kind of look at the other team. As soon as Cam came jogging on the field, me and Vinny both, we just crossed our arms and just looked at it, and we're like, what the fuck is that thing? It was a defensive end. He was a defensive end who was dancing, celebrating, throwing the ball, catching, doing everything. And we're like, that guy's about to just change football right there. If that guy can figure out football, that guy is going to dominate football. And then a couple years later, he was in MVP contention. They were in the Super Bowl. It's like, hey, some bitch figured it out, didn't he? And then now he's back playing his best football yet. I mean, that is going to be a good game, the Raiders and Patriots. And I think I do side with you on that one with the Patriots winning that game. I also like the under, same game parlay. We'll be able to hit that on FanDuel. Can't wait for that. But that's Cam Newton. This rebirth of Cam Newton is going to be outrageous.
Raiders, one of the teams that probably could have signed him even though they have Derek Carr because they got Marcus Mariota for $17 million in 2 years.
Yeah, $8 million a year that guy's getting.
What an idiot.
Cam Newton probably has a little check mark on it.
Maybe.
Boy, I'm happy I called that guy.
Oh, you call me Slam Newton? Is that
Are
right?
there any bets out there for which head coach is going to be more compliant with the mask rule?
Oh, they're both not going to do it.
No. Belichick on the nose, and then Gruden's underneath his chin most of the time. Hey, I'm trying, man. I've had the virus.
Belichick's been good.
I got the antibodies. I mean, hey, man. Let's go to Justin in South Carolina. Hey, Gruden's a good game caller. Like his game strategy, he doesn't get enough credit because of how good of a personality he is. It kind of camouflages his actual football intellect. You know what I mean?
You're 100% right.
Justin, what's going on, bub?
Not much. I just wanted to congratulate you and Diggs on becoming the undefeated World U-Ball champion.
Hey, that's an inside joke, but I would like it to be known that Diggs and I are the champions.
They're not
right
undefeated.
What would you like to talk about, Jesse? We can't be undefeated in a game that's a carnival game because you're going to lose every once in a while. But Diggs and I have been the champion more often than anybody else. What would you like to talk about, bub?
Twice.
I was just, on that same team, I was just wanting to know where I could apply to be Connor's new teammate. I mean, I'm in a wheelchair, so taking too many steps would never be a problem. Shooting might be an issue, but at least you wouldn't have to worry about covering up Foxy's PR messes.
Well, I'll tell you what, Foxy does have PR message. And for those that don't know what we're talking about, there is a game that has captivated our office. It is a carnival game where you have this small little ball, a 9-foot hoop basically that's kind of smaller. It's impossible to shoot. It's like at a state fair if anybody's ever been there. The games are impossible, like circus games. And Diggs and I have really taken a kin to being great at this game. We're the champion. And Foxy started blaming everybody but himself and the entire thing. Justin, we need to get you up here to play, man. I'm going to be honest. You'd probably be better than Connor at the game if I had to guess. I don't know much about you, but the fact that you said shooting will be a problem, Connor has that and then some as a problem. So Foxy might be looking for a new teammate as well, Justin.
Well, you would never have to worry about me cheating. You know, I know he is a Patriots fan, so that.
Wow. I like
Low
that.
blow.
You're just getting absolutely slaughtered on this show.
What the hell is going on?
AJ, we got about a minute and a half before we got to get out of here. Do you have any final words for the people?
I don't have a whole lot, but I'm still confident in my choice tonight for Fitzmagic getting it done. I think they're a team that the best is out in front of them still. Whether that's with Fitzpatrick or Tua, I think the Dolphins are gonna grow into a solid football team.
I love Darius Butler and his big brain. He's been very, very hot in gambling. But tonight I disagree with him. I'm taking Magic over Mania. We might have to eat our words tomorrow, but we will also be celebrating hard. Speaking of celebrating, why don't you celebrate getting rid of tobacco products in your mouth? Why don't you go with a tobacco-less free product that can replace the dip or the chew that you're currently chewing on? Why don't you go with Canadip's CBD pouches that our entire office has been captivated by? Ty, talk about why this is such a good replacement or alternative to tobacco products that you could chew.
Well, because it feels like a real chaw. It's not like that other BS, and the flavors are delicious.
Yes. So right now you go to CBDMD.com, use promo code McAfee, that's MCAFEE. You'll get 25% off your purchase. So not only is it a great replacement for tobacco, it also makes CBD in there, which makes your body feel better and get you off a product that'll probably be hurting you much more than helping you. Shout out to CBDMD, CBDMD.com. Use promo code McAfee, get 25% off. Not only that, they have a lot of other stuff. Oh, it's not the pouches, actually. Canadips is the pouches. CBDMD has rubs and everything. It takes care of you.
Still lip boomers, though.
Still lip boomers. Yikes. You can get those as well for Canadips CBD.
I love that.
Rob Manfred joins Mad Dog Russo at 5 o'clock. Wow. The commissioner of the MLB will be talking to a legend in sports at 5 o'clock on Sirius Channel 82 Mad Dog Sports Radio. This is that channel. That legend is next. This has been the Pat McAfee Show. fuck that went up. Jesus.
Yeah, but I believe CBDMD at some point in the future will have.
No, they won't. That's not their game. Their game is like rubs and things that help you sleep better and recover faster. Canadips are the ones that are replacing tobacco, and they'll be thankful for the ad that we just partially gave them. We're going to have to make up for CBDMD there. That's a complete fuck up by me. But what I will say is the introduction of these CBD companies into our offices' life have made them a lot better. Yeah. CBDMD makes me sleep better, recover faster, everything like that. And the Canadip CBD has made Ty's mouth a lot better than it's ever been.
Mm-hmm. Right. I love lip boomers.
Jesus. Sorry about that. What's going on, Hawk? By the way, yesterday I was talking about tobacco-free products, and you took your cigar out of your mouth as big as you possibly could and was like, let me go ahead and get this one in here real quick.
Well, you weren't talking about cigars. You're talking about dip. I've never dipped.
I can't do it.
Cigars, tobacco, dude.
I can't smoke cigars either, though. Like, tobacco is the only...
You can't smoke anything, can you? Like, don't you have an issue with that?
I can smoke some things, but it sure feels like tobacco is really the weakness when it comes to the drugs in my life.
Yeah, cigars, I mean, they're definitely something you got to work on, I feel like.
Chew makes me puke. Cigars make me spin. I mean, I just can't do it. CBD, though, I'm all in. And the vitamins, I can take those down.
With the best of them.
In abundance, AJ. It'll turn on me. Everybody said it'll turn on me at some point. It hasn't happened. Hasn't happened yet.
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean it'll turn on you?
I don't know. I've had some friends that used to be able to keep up with me pretty good. And then all of a sudden they'll come back like a month later and they're like, I don't do it anymore. I'm like, what happened? One night I had to pull the car over. I had to call a friend to come pick me up.
You were Willie Nelson 2 months ago.
What the hell happened, dude? I just turned on me. And it'll happen to you, too. I'm like, I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope not.
Please, no.
And that's happened to a couple of different my friends. So hopefully it won't happen to me. Maybe I'm too stupid to overthink it all, but I enjoy the hell. It makes my body feel better. A lot of people are talking about how marijuana should be legalized in the NFL for obvious reasons, right? It's a lot better than painkillers. It's all this other stuff. And really, if guys are smoking, that's a lot better than anything else they could potentially be doing. And there's a lot of people in the NFL that smoke currently. And the test right now is just the NFL kind of covering their ass with the test. Like, we have a test. We're testing for it. Until it's federally legalized, we'll continue to test for it. We won't punish people for it. We'll still fine them for it, but they won't miss any games. Were you ever a guy that took a lot of the painkillers, or did you get injections? We talked to Rob Ninkovich earlier today, and he was like, I got injected all the time. I got injections here. I got injections here. I got injections here. Painkillers here. And I'm like, that is the reality of the NFL, though. Like, there is a lot of people battling a lot of things. Was that something you had to battle at a rapid rate?
No, luckily for me, I never got into it. I'm scared to death of pills. So like, in Green Bay would never give you any pills. Anyway, the few times I ever took any kind of painkillers was after, like, when I got my wrist rebuilt. I think I took a couple of them, and all it did was just keep me awake. Like, everyone else said, it took me. It was great. It was like I was on a different planet, and I fell asleep. I'm like, no, I was just sitting there at 3:30 in the morning on the couch awake, and my wrist hurt like hell. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess it's a good thing that I don't react super positively to these.
The pills are a problem, man, in our society. Real problem, like an actual problem.
People get hooked like in days.
Very quickly.
And it's, for me, I'm very thankful that I've had a couple surgeries, and you get painkillers obviously afterwards whenever they tell you not to leave your bed or whatever. And there's always that conversation with the doctor or whatever. It's like, hey, we're giving you this amount, you're allowed to take this amount, and they monitor it. That's one of the things that they monitor very closely on how many you get. If you ask for more, there's like always follow-up questions, because they have to really protect the player, and hopefully the addiction problem that everybody has never comes or whatever. For me, every time I took them, I hated it. I did not like the feeling at all. I couldn't poop. I'm a pooper.
That's a big one.
I couldn't poop. I was not a fan of it. But there are some guys, I think, that, it potentially, it fucks them up there for a little bit. People get kind of hooked on it, and once you get in that path, it's bad. Not only in football, by the way, but in our whole society. It's a problem. It's a real problem. And that's why people are like, if CBD and these edibles and marijuana make body feel better without guys having to potentially dip their toes into the, oh shit, I'm addicted to something that's terrible pool, why don't we go ahead and do that? And I think that's becoming a more common question that a lot of people are asking for the NFL, and players and coaches and everybody.
Well, the fact that players you're not getting suspended for it now, it's basically just like they decriminalized it. So, yeah, you can get fined, but you're not going to have to miss games if the one time a year we test you for street drugs, you test positive.
Just wait until the NFL, like 10 years from now, when marijuana is legal. Just like they brought in nutritionists, okay, and they bring in psychologists. They bring in Method Man from How High, and he's cooking together a strain. He's like, this one's good for arthritis right here, dog. This one right here is good. Hey, you in a bad mood? Just got a loss? Okay, here we go. This is that dementia. You'll forget everything that just happened. Go ahead. Oh, you just got smoked on a deep ball? Okay, here we go. Here's this one. Like, that would be hilarious if the NFL fully embraces, which I assume will happen at one point. If a coach or a team feels as if they can get an advantage somehow, some way, they will exhaust all options to do so. 10 to 15 years from now, having a botanist, a green thumb on staff for an NFL team because it makes their bodies recover faster and they don't want them to be able to share any of the strands with anybody else will be hilarious. And I don't know if our show will be around in a week or two, but I hope we are around for that first hiring of that happening.
You're right. Hey, and that nutritionist that's dialing up all these different recipes for the players needs to do the same thing up on the second level for the whole coaching staff so they don't have heart attacks every other day.
Oh, so you're saying that there's an option to potentially eat healthy for everybody in the building, but one particular group that also takes up time in the training room sometimes or takes up Toradol shots, they just choose not to listen because old dog's new tricks. Are you saying that about the coaching staff right there?
No. I'm saying if Method Man comes in and he has all these different strains and everything, he needs to give those to the coaching staff as well, not just the players. The coaches are the ones that are most anxious, nervous, freak out artists there are.
All right, here's some sativa. It'll bring you down a little, or here's some indica. It'll bring you down a little bit. Plus, no munchies with this one, okay? So your fat ass will be able to be okay.
UMass, at UMass Amherst, cannabis growing has become a very legitimate thing. A cannabis consultant really isn't out of the question.
I don't think it's out of the question at all. I think a cannabis consultant is coming to the NFL for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We'll be around for it, hopefully. From all of us to all of you, we can't thank you enough for watching. If you're a member, please utilize the discount code because you're making your money back immediately. The podcast that comes out of this office with the boys, which is just a podcast about nothing, not about sports at all, just about nothing. That'll be in its entirety for members only. Clips will still be released during the weekends. We're not changing anything or taking anything away. We're actually adding things that you could watch, and there'll be more exclusive content happening behind the McAfee Mafia member wall, which we can't thank you enough for. $5.99. Come on and have a good time. Anything from the boys?
No.
Magic, baby.
Magic tonight, baby.
Magic.
Fucking Fitzmagic needs to do it. We got a lot of money over here on the Magic. And tomorrow morning could be a tough morning, but AJ, I would like to let you know, you are also with us in this Magic pick. So if we lose, you lose.
Correct. I'm 100% on board. I'm a team player.
The guy's a third ballot Hall of Famer.
At least, maybe fourth or fifth ballot.
Can we recognize that?
How many ballots do you need to be a Hall of Famer? I mean, he's a fifth ballot, maybe sixth ballot Hall of Famer, and nobody's even talking about the number of ballots this guy has.
You see the Magic when you least expect it, and everybody's on the Jags tonight.
Everybody, 90% at the beginning of the show. Now it's at 80%, I assume. What's up, Diggs?
Oh, and after this, Hammered Down, Mr. Lombardi will tell us also why the Dolphins.
Oh, you guys are having
teaser.
a show Hammered Down today?
Thursday, Friday, baby.
Okay, here we go. Hammered Down will be starting here in about 10 minutes once we end this show. It is a gambling lock show. The percentages are very high that they've been shooting over there. Can't wait to see you then, and we'll see you in Mignogna. Have the best Thursday you've ever had in your entire life. I will be launching a campaign with at my house. I don't know if my lady will be a part of this trick shot. I will be posting a trick shot on my Twitter account. If you can match it, you will enter into a pool to win a $1,000 Visa gift card. I believe we'll be giving away 5 of those each week for the next couple weeks. Thanks to our friends Cutwater Spirits who are funding all that.
Oh, the best.
Wow. Because they are clutch. And if you can do what I can do, that'll be clutch if you get $1,000 for it because it is a stupid act. All right, we're out of here. We'll see you, Mignogna. Cheers.